Previously on Final Fantasy VII Remake.
What will we find on the other side?
Freedom. Boundless, terrifying freedom.
Well, Remake did one thing right. I'm terrified of what might change. But now that we're here, let's change it for the better.
I would have given anything to have a friend when I was growing up.
Where the hell have you two been?
On a date, kind of.
What?
Their chemistry is better than ever.
Deal with that.
Together?
Time to bash its brains in!
Look at that. Even fighting arduous battles is bringing them closer together.
Girl and boy go on a date. Easy peasy, right?
Of course they do.
I was never gonna be normal. That much was clear.
It's okay.
Amazing. Of course Cloud would sneak a photo.
Whoa!
I know you snuck a shot of me earlier.
Nothing sneaky about it.
Cloud is so into Aerith.
Is that so? Hey, let's get a selfie together, okay? Come here. Oh,
That's
perfect.
adorable. Damn. That takes me back.
Aerith?
Just till the ride's over.
They are made for each other. Evermore. It won't end. Not this time. I have no idea what I was so worried about. There haven't been any bad omens or foreshadowing or anything. Right? Right?
So, know which ones to pick?
Yeah. I got this.
Your face says otherwise. Good thing you've got me here.
Damn right. Of course it's good to have you here.
I've been dying to see you.
Oh, get over it. Jesus. It's a figure of speech. God, you're getting paranoid.
It's moments like these we have to hold on to.
It's a big journey. Yeah. We have to hold on to the moments.
My future self. Can't say when you'll meet, but trust me, you'll love her.
But
Just you wait.
before, she said,
But whatever happens, you can't fall in love with me.
Aerith, just don't say stuff like that, okay? Please.
Seek, and you are sure to find. But alas, you shall forever lose what you cherish most.
What you cherish most? That was in the original too. And that was said by Kate Sith.
What I cherish most?
It's just a red herring. That's all it is.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Your funeral, though.
Cloud? Really? Those are the words you choose?
You don't look like you're on a date. More like at a funeral.
You've nothing to fear. Not even death.
Let it go. Let it go. It'll be okay. There's so much hope. Why would they promote change if that event couldn't be prevented? I have hope, and I believe in my expectations.
Expectations often lead to disappointment.
It's Vincent. He's a brooding loner. You think I'm gonna take what he says with a lot of clout?
I think they're gonna teach me how to be at one with the live stream.
Okay, I'll admit that is a little foreboding. But hey, at least I haven't found that fairy tale weapon that... Oh no. God damn it. I'm worrying too much again. It's a piece of equipment. Get a grip. Let's see what awesome ability Aerith can use now. No. It's just a battle ability. I'm not ever gonna even have to use it. I'm good at this game. I've kicked ass all the way through. Oh no. That wall. No, not the wall. It's all happening again. This wall is kicking my ass. Let's use it. I don't have a choice. Use it. Use it.
Just hang on.
Now raise. God damn it, Cloud. Raise.
I got it.
See, we got this. Oh, it's just a gameplay mechanic, like I said.
Thing is, Cloud, I really like you.
He likes you too.
Whatever happens, don't blame yourself.
Whatever happens. But do I get a say in all this?
Cloud, thank you.
Don't say thank you. Not until he saved your life. It's gonna be different this time. Yeah. Yes. What's so funny? You miserable bastard. Not again. Square can't do this to me again!
Aerith. Wake up.
What? She's back? She's alive? Is she alive?
So, I hear you've been pretty busy.
He touches him in the void, and that merges the reality?
Cloud! Save her!
What the hell is going on?
What in the hell is going on?
Please start making sense.
Cloud! On it!
And now Zack's summoning Cloud to his timeline for some kind of combo attack? What is real? Someone tell me what is real?
Let's end this. Together.
How am I supposed to feel right now?
Is any of it real? Or is it all just a fever dream?
Let's get serious.
A whisper cannon attack?
Everybody's waiting. I'll see you off.
But she's gone. She's returned to the planet. No one else sees you. But Cloud saved her. I saw it. That was one of the realities. Right?
Behold, the true nature of reality.
God, no.
New worlds are born.
No.
The planet encompasses a multitude of worlds. Should this world be unmade,
God, no.
a reunion of worlds,
No more of this meta crap! Ow, you're such a unreliable narrator.
The hell?
Oh god, there's the black materia.
You gonna be okay getting back?
And if I said I wasn't?
This is just great. Now I'm heartbroken and I have no friggin' clue what's going on.
I will stop Sephiroth. Trust me.
But things are gonna turn out okay. Right?
You promise?
Promise.
See? It's all gonna work out in the end.
I'm thinking how the years have flown until I met you. I won't say that it was fate.
It must be easy to make a narrative where you can just say no promises await and then do whatever the hell you want and not be accountable at all to the fan base.
Not what good
Good to see you, gamers. So, how many times did you cry?
I'm sorry, Mommy. I tried.
And how many of you got drawn back into Final Fantasy VII's world?
The planet encompasses a multitude of worlds.
sorry, multiple converging worlds. Woo! Even though you swore on the grave of your dead goldfish and to many Reddit commenters that truly you were done with Final Fantasy VII after Remake, I don't blame anyone who did that and then came back. I knew right after Remake was done that I had to see how this alternative story would play out, but I know it completely wrecked things for some fans. Maybe that's why the sales aren't too great. And guess what? The ending of Rebirth? It did nothing to salvage itself from the skeptics. I'm Shep from Gaming Introspection, and this new Final Fantasy VII shirt I'm wearing has sleeves that are way too big. Just look at how far these droop. Oh, let's do this. Yeah. That's nasty. Sorry you had to see that. But it's ironically fitting that I should wear attire that's too big, because there is a ton to unpack. Both good
This is not my Excalibur!
and bad.
Auto gas levels reduced by 70%.
What in the hell is going on? Because there's always a lot of both within my hits and misses series. Join me for a gargantuan introspective review of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Much more so than Remake, Rebirth celebrates the eccentric sense of humor and bizarre characters that you are constantly coming across and interacting with.
Remake had its wacky moments, don't get me wrong. Cloud's chest popping, and Wedge's ass biting, and Tifa's neon platform jumping, and oh dear God, no. Yeah.
But Rebirth? It spawns this everywhere!
At one point, Tifa and Cloud come to the aid of kids, letting themselves transform into frogs in an ultimate amphibian clash, then bond over what it's like to jump over propeller blades in what is an absolutely dumb but heartwarming sequence. Is this not the Tifa and Cloud flirting you've always wanted?
You looked like you were having fun.
Ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Hey! Ribbit.
Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit.
Now, you might scoff at this one, given how it's completely unrealistic and there's no memorable side characters. Okay, yeah, let's talk about realism for a second. Is it realistic
for Tifa, Aerith, and Yuffie to be ushered into a live musical performance, instantly able to dance in perfect synchronized choreography with a gold saucer event that appears immediately after arriving at the damn place that also features a 50-something man with no armpit hair that nonetheless turns Yuffie on and makes her faint?
No.
Is it plausible to see Aerith and Tifa, neither of which have probably handled a gun in their life, to be able to perform lockstep with Cloud, exhibiting perfect, precise military form as the three masquerade as Shinra troopers?
Not in the least.
Should Aerith don sunglasses during a synergy attack with Barret?
Oh yeah! Bring the heat!
Who knows? But do it anyway.
Does Roche's rematch with Cloud, complete with circus show stunts, pitting a swordsman against a 500 horsepower motorcycle, scream out realism? How about electronic vending machines in a thousands and thousands of years old ancient temple that has never been seen by most humans? And does it make sense for Yuffie to have the power to create 8 Johnnies, which appear to help a half-naked Cloud as he fights off Hojo's inexplicably appearing robot using an umbrella as a weapon?
Sure. Come on, what are you overreacting for? Stuff like that happens all the time. No! It doesn't make sense at all. What if I were to drop this solitary ice cube into this piping hot mug of Canadian Tim Hortons coffee, instantly freezing it? Did that look realistic? Nah, but it was unexpected, wasn't it? It got your attention. And that's the point. The absurdity of it all makes it hilarious, and it broadens the horizons and possibilities for the things that Square Enix could include. Is Scarlet's, is that reasonable attire befitting a professional corporate leader? Not likely, but this is a video game, so she rocks it anyway, before engaging the female party members in an over-the-top gargantuan robot versus anime Charlie's Angels-esque battle! Stretching the boundaries makes Rebirth so engaging to play and creates laughter for all. This Junin sequence is particularly funny. Each group of the 7th Infantry you recruit are just out of their minds, and then the way they all march like doofuses upon Cloud giving them orders to move out.
Follow me.
Yes, sir!
With that expanding amount of Cloud's army earnestly offering their encouragement and well wishes every time he sets foot in the Junin marketplace.
Sir! Welcome back, sir! Welcome back, sir! Looking forward to a celebratory drink, sir! Can't wait, sir!
It's the cheesiest thing ever, but I loved every second of it. And as stupid as it initially feels, I did not want my lowly troopers to die when Cloud has to attempt to find the imposter. They're loyal to a fault. They even heal Cloud when he's hurt, and there's genuine emotion when Cloud has to let them go.
The 7th feels more like a family than ever, and we hope you feel the same.
You're not out of line. It's been an honor, Trooper.
This is a sign of developers who understand how to attach players to the characters. No, Cloud summoning a dolphin to get access to Upper Junin doesn't follow real-world logic.
Okay, which one of you wants to go flying?
Free Willy my ass! No dolphin is this intelligent or enjoys the company of humans this much. Hey, also, any ancient gamers my age, did this particular sequence remind you of an older, more retro game? The Dolphin game is just like Wave Race 64. They even stole the tutorial stage from that classic.
Welcome to Dolphin Park. Warm-up time. Follow that dolphin.
Anyway, if it was an emo Advent Children's style game, Cloud and company would have just got on an elevator or climbed up some stairs.
Just say you can't hack it.
I'll hack you, jackass!
Reaching the upper levels of Junin would be a moot point. But they kept this. Gamers loved its absurdity, so it's there. The Ghost Square at the Gold Saucer is so cheesily packed with jump scares, along with a genuinely creepy Tonberry machine. This is legitimately disturbing, especially when you hear the legends behind it.
Seeking revenge, and if it crosses paths with ill-mannered guests that remind it of the one who did it wrong, stab right through their heart.
Instead of chalk drawings and this cheap knockoff of Moogles represented by this kid in the remake, you're finding the actual mystical creatures all over the world. And there's even references to the Gold Saucer Moogle game from the original.
The emporium that Mog and Mag built together won't have to close down.
Where you guide that poor lonely soul through trials so he can find his mate and produce all of these rambunctious families of Moogles that are so charming.
But also goddamn annoying.
Can't catch me! Can't catch me!
But so damn charming and adorable!
You can't help but smile, even after they make you pull your hair out from failed rounding up attempts. Cloud, Barrett, Aerith, and Tifa were already well established, but Square did a great job reintroducing the rest of the cast. Because the game is so long, there's tons of opportunities for everyone to stand out. Kate Sith's personality and voice actor is just tremendously suave and optimistic.
Nowhere to stay? I'll foot the entire bill myself. It feels so good to do good.
Even for players who know about his eventual betrayal, it's difficult to sustain any long-lasting ill will, because that cat and Moogle just exude a pleasant camaraderie that even Cloud warms up to.
No denying that. But it's the only lead I've got.
Then let's follow it. We trust you.
You do? Thank you.
And by the end, well, if even Barrett can get one over, I think it's safe to say this scene gave us the feels too. Even though we all know he's instantly gonna come back in another robot body. Yuffie. Oh man, Yuffie. She is adorable. Her teenage energy is just infectious, right from her introduction, with Cloud accidentally looking like a creep in what was supposed to be a reference to the CPR minigame.
You picked the wrong girl, creep!
She'll make typical perverse comments for someone her age.
If we cloned a bunch of Barretts, they'd blast those baddies into oblivion!
And catch us in the crossfire.
Okay, what about Tifa? Thinking naughty thoughts?
Oh, shut up.
She shows authentic adolescent boredom, but this enlightens us to how her talents even span to singing, giving us a new appreciation for her own theme music.
Bet y'all go insane, 'cause I've got nothing else to do. I'm stuck here wasting time.
If you say the right thing, you can even get more of her amateur improv ballad, though it definitely can get annoying.
Chocobo, choco, choco, chocobo.
Oh, God.
Choco, choco, choco.
Oh, shut up!
Choco, 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 choco.
Please shut up now.
I'm on a chocobo. You're on a chocobo.
Speaking of the dialogue choices, just before Yuffie joins your party, there's a surprisingly long stretch of conversation options. A big dialogue tree not found anywhere else in the game that evoke different reactions from the ninja girl, a couple of which actually cause her to depart for a minute before she officially joins.
Afraid you're about to catch a beat down? Wait, seriously? Abort, abort! Tactical retreat!
This references the original, where the same string of word choices were much more important, because screwing them up meant Yuffie would leave you in the dust, and you'd have to encounter her randomly again in the next forest area. To include this homage just makes fans happy, and Square Enix did a lot of these moments right. When you hear Cid's theme for the first time.
Where to, folks?
Or you see that unrealistic coffin scene where the lid unrealistically pops off 20 feet. That's unabashedly the same as the original. It makes you smile, because Square obviously knows how to appease to the fanbase with these constant nods. The supporting characters fare just as well. Bugenhagen's laugh is just as we'd imagine it in the original. And he still floats around like a boss on that orb thing, which I had no idea that's what it was. I figured he was just a levitating dude with superpowers back then.
Dude gets around!
Kudos to the development team for recreating the spectacular planet scene with new technology as well. It's amazing how good the old one still looks though.
What happens next?
Chocobos are back in the forefront, and I absolutely loved how the ranch is in the exact same part of the map as the old game, complete with Cloud needing to follow Chocobo tracks to round up the very first traditional Chocobo, again echoing the original's method of finding these birds. Even their motivation to get a Chocobo is the same as the old game. You can't cross the swamp without riding a Chocobo. Even the Chocobo Sage returns, albeit in a more drunken / high as a kite version. He even retains his poor memory as well.
Hold on. I know this. I do. Why can't I remember? Oh, damn it!
This guy! He looks more like an overaged cosplayer with a serious chocoholic fetish, looking nothing like the more mystical or alien one from before. But even if in name only, it's another nostalgic tingle among many that reverberate through Rebirth.
I worry about this fossil though. It sounds like he's dying half the time. Listen to this. What exactly is he making with those flying choco flower things? Jeez, he might want to stop.
Gus is possibly an even worse person than Don Corneo, who's also still around and lacking any measure of self-improvement. But Gus? Damn, he is so likable, despite his overblown narcissism.
That's Gus to you. I want stacks of it, heaps of it, mountains of it.
He even has his own theme song. Look at him groove to his own delusional planning. Watch his false bravado momentarily snap as he can't handle the fact that he got his ass handed to him in his own tournament.
Damn it! Do you have any idea how much kill I spent on that thing? You inconsiderate son of a...
It's done. It's all good.
If there was ever a video game character who you wanted to punch in the face more, let me know, because this Gus guy, he's at the top of my list. That'll do. Yeah, that'll work.
And even more minor NPCs have ridiculous interactions, like these two young women.
This is for him! Hey, quit it!
Slapping each other? Is this supposed to be a homage to Scarlet and Tifa?
Actually, we're a pretty good match.
Well, at least it ends with more civility than the old game.
You hussy! Excuse me?
Oh, never mind. And then, there's tiny, small character moments that only the old school portion of us will get. Cloud has the option to jam on Tifa's piano, and it's awesome how here, just like before, there's no real rhyme or reason. You don't get sheet music to actually play anything for now, so it's just plunking on random keys like before. Anyone else attempt to replicate the Highwind theme to get the secret loot like in the old game? I did. And yeah, I really failed. Speaking of this scene, you also have the opportunity to make Cloud a creep by checking in Tifa's drawers, which results in...
Cloud! You asshole!
Yep, that was deserved.
The developers didn't have the stones to include the legendary orthopedic underwear, but hey, it's more tasteful now, and that's probably for the best. Red's ridiculous human posing from the old game returns in the Queen's Blood tournament. Instead of worrying about being exposed and dressing as a Shinra trooper, here the atmosphere is much more relaxed. However, Red's animal identity prevents him from participating in what is honestly the worst minigame ever conceived by humans.
I want to speak with your manager.
But that's a topic for another time.
Anyway, to bypass this, he dons that familiar Shinra outfit, challenging Cloud, and for some reason pulls off some Michael Jackson-ish moonwalking. The animations here, oh, they just crack me up.
Cloud, are you ready?
Even the main story beats have action moments that make movies like Advent Children seem realistic and toned down. Elena doing parachute jumps out of the helicopters without a parachute, landing flawlessly on the buggy window as she will not give up, makes this 20-year-old seem way too trained and badass to be true. But yet just a moment ago, she crumbles under the heat of the desert, with ice cream being her top priority, and the game makes sure to give her those just desserts shortly thereafter.
Wait, this reminds me of... Oh man! This looks just like the ice cream Roxas ate in Kingdom Hearts 2! It's even the same color! Did we need any more Kingdom Hearts references besides Whispers and Heartless? And should I ever start reviews on this series?
Anyway, we've got muscle men like Dio posing with every word he says.
I am Dio.
Inseparable from his showman persona, even as serious murder cases and bullet storms are going down at his establishment. He's got muscles within his bigger muscles, and yet somehow doesn't have to deal with armpit hair. No one does, actually. Does that not exist in the Japanese RPG universe?
Oh, let's do this! Yeah! Come on, kill him! Whew, this is a hairy situation here. Oh, damn! Right. Well, there is a good reason for that. I've realized that now. Nasty.
One of the best showcases for the cheesy humor and silliness that Final Fantasy VII should always keep close to its heart is found near the end of the game in the Loveless Play recreation. I was hoping that there would at least be a mention of this almost throwaway scene from the old game, but was absolutely blown away by how much detail they crammed into it. First of all, it completely changes based on who your date for the Gold Saucer is. For example, Tifa and Aerith can both play the Queen in Distress role, with their own costume designs and small touches, like Cloud and Tifa's interlocking hands during Aerith's singing performance, which changes to Cloud and Aerith's knowing facial expressions throughout the same scene. It's much more interactive too, giving you a similar timed button minigame setup that's found in Juno's military exercises.
Hey, at least it's better than this, right?
It even has that same ridiculous choice you can make to profess your love for the Fair Maiden or Barret and Red. If Final Fantasy VII was taking itself too seriously, it wouldn't have bothered with this. But they kept this hilarious choice in here just for fun. It's all about fun.
That's my main takeaway here. The game already has enough emotional, tragic content to make Arnold Schwarzenegger cry. Probably.
So, they made sure to allocate other chunks to honor the spirit of the original, that exudes classic JRPG character wackiness, unrelenting creative action scenes, and flawless performances that couldn't possibly take place within our own mundane existence.
I hate you, Cloud! You're dead, you spiky haired... Dum 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 ba da 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 dum bum bum.
Remake's combat was such an effectively designed hybrid system.
It retains the ATB bars that you need to fill up, just like the old game, and you can still pause the action, but it has you dodging, striking, and parrying to effectively fill these up faster, giving it a much-needed dose of action pizzazz. Staggering enemies is an endorphin rush as you pile on powerful abilities that the ATB charges grant. The developers did right by keeping the entire framework exactly the same and just building on it. It helps frame the game as a true continuation, and the battle system is now even better. Characters are given brand new weapons and abilities that allow them more variety than ever. Don't like Barrett's minuscule basic attacks? Pump it up with bonus round and get some more punishment in. And if something's right in your face, use point blank to get it the hell out of there! Tired of Aerith getting assaulted while she attempts to cast her spells? Use Chrono Aegis and watch as the bad guys get bound by CGI clocks, freezing them enough for you to make your next move. Or use Radiant Shield to buy some time as you charge up your ATB. Even big-ass repeat mechanoid monstrosities from Remake will be confounded. Cloud has a multi-elemental firebolt blade, which is handy against tons of opponents, and against flying foes, he uses mini blade beams to stun the enemy as he launches himself upwards. The aerial combat is much more intuitive here. Before, you were clumsily slashing once or twice and then falling back down to the ground, like a actual human. Now you're staying aloft, doing a 4-hit combo, and then unleashing triple slashing against multiple targets in the air.
And don't come back!
One of Cloud's strongest moves is an aerial onslaught. It makes for much more variety in how you want to attack. And there are a lot more flying enemies in general, including classics like Floating Death, making Yuffie and Barrett's playstyles particularly fun. Speaking of Yuffie, the new characters shine with completely unique movesets. The Wutai Ninja can even act if she's in that annoying stunned or paralyzed state. With a move like Blindside. She can effortlessly shift her elemental powers, create doppelgangers that double your offensive output temporarily.
Go forth and kick butt, you see!
It's chaos, and she is an absolute menace. Red's Vengeance mode allows him to heal himself and also grants access to abilities that can save you in boss battles, like a haste spell that speeds up your entire party. And a move called Watcher's Respite that heals the party based on how full his vengeance meter is.
You got this!
Red is so versatile. He's got offensive finishers with area effect spells like Stardust Ray that decimate things, and several defensive abilities like an Ice Elemental Counter Barrier. He is so fun to use. Cait Sith retains his dorky fortune-telling personality that manifests in his random damage dealing and dice rolling that can heal, give buffs, or pummel the bad guys. The Moogle generates different abilities depending on how long he remains on the battlefield. And you can even dismount that Moogle, providing more targets for the enemies to worry about. Oh, it's insane! And this is all before even talking about the synergy system, which again, Cait Sith just steals the show.
Now, I'll admit, I didn't use the synergy moves all the time, but still often enough that they definitely came in handy.
Like Aerith's bodyguard combo, helping shield some crushing blows at just the right time.
Too much?
Cloud really puts Tifa and Aerith to work when he summons different energy blades to crush opponents with different powered-up slices. Reminds me of Chrono's fire and ice sword techs in Chrono Trigger. There's something incredibly satisfying about seeing Cloud using his sword to whirlwind Tifa up towards a flying enemy she would otherwise be unable to attack, and then watching her unleash a Ken and Ryu style combo kick before linking into her unrelenting Gale special move to absolutely wreck that poor winged creature. Those are the kinds of things you can pull off if you dive into the synergy system. Not only are the synergy moves eye-popping to watch, they also serve an additional purpose in that they can enhance the relationship between characters if you continue to work in tandem together. Pair off with a party member often enough, and you don't need to use quite as many abilities in order to activate the big moves. Let's talk about that activation. Synergy moves can't be abused either. Basic tandem ones can be used at any time, and are handy to pull off while you guard, which makes them intuitive to use, because why not if you're guarding anyway?
Let's go!
However, the super synergy moves that you activate through the Folio upgrade system don't become available until both characters have used a required amount of ATB bar abilities.
Try using it.
If you're fighting some lowly scrub opponents, you're going to win using some standard attacks and maybe 1 or 2 abilities. So you can't just take Aerith and Red at the start of battle and create some catastrophic explosion at some tiny miscreant and win instantly, because the ATB charges haven't been built up yet. It's much better than a game like Chrono Trigger, where you can just dish out triple techs at any time against the lowliest pests imaginable. Besides, there's other ways to get a tactical advantage. Armored enemies like these underground ants are a pain.
Deal with that.
But grenades can launch them and make them vulnerable. Don't discount moves like Bio, because even bosses like Elena of the Turks can get plagued with poison. Another nice touch is that the backup party members are always on the field with you. It at least looks like they're doing stuff to help, but it's just for aesthetic effect. Gotta say though, it's awesome seeing Barrett hanging out and shooting from way back there. And hearing the backup party grunt as if they're really in the fray. Although sometimes the party looks like they're literally just out for a stroll at the beach.
Yeah, thanks a lot there, team. Yeah, I'm getting eaten alive over here by sand animals, but, you know, sightseeing and that run on the beach, you gotta do that. Yeah, Barrett, you're looking good back there, buddy. Yeah! Oh, love it.
But anyway, if you're in dire straits, a synergy command from your backup squad might show up, and you can channel their power to make a last desperate assault while you scramble to heal your downed members.
Aw, someone need a rest?
It was also smart of Square to make sure that every playable character gets their own individual segment to shine.
Not just to ensure their relevance to the plot, but also to force the player to practice, at least a little bit, with everyone's playstyle, because the plot often locks your party selection into varied combinations, where you'll have no choice but to take the lead with someone other than Cloud. You'll find situations where you'll be juggling the long-range potential of Yuffie with the close-range combat of Tifa, as the girls mount a rescue mission in Gongaga. You may need to get used to using Kate Sith's Moogle Mines to help defend himself when he's on his own during the Manor subplot. It's all worthwhile at the end, too, because the final boss has so many segments, with the main party constantly getting divided into new setups, that you'd better at least have a basic understanding of the strengths, weaknesses, materia, and combat arts that will efficiently help you charge ATB and use abilities. Even the enemies themselves make Rebirth so much fun to combat with. So many fan favorites are here, from the smallest Mandragora weeds, old school wolves, and re-envisioned Alpha Dunks are here, most of them even equipped with the same elemental weaknesses that they had in 97. Special event battle intel even expands on the lore of these enemies, like Mies. No, not wee Mies, rather variants of those cute moo gopher mammals that burrow underground and share a complex communications network. There's so many awesome facts you can learn.
Rare moo variant identified.
Oh, so interesting.
Moo possesses an incredible memory.
Oh, wait there. I need to see this.
It can and will track you down in order to exact revenge.
Look at their behavior. It's so spectacular seeing them in their own environment.
The Moo have a massive underground network through which they exchange information on food sources and predators.
Such brilliant creatures.
Die!
What? They're attacking with magma from the earth! They gotta die!
If you're a sucker for wildlife and animal behavior, Rebirth definitely has you covered. Finding winged monstrosities and then dealing with their healing techniques, like the Zemzelites, are nostalgic, especially since they're equipped with Soothing Breeze, a skill that pays tribute to the White Wind enemy skill. Speaking of which, enemy skill materia can be outfitted with the move, and I used it a lot, especially because you don't have to use MP. Nice healing hack for anyone interested. Expanding on the materia, the way that it continues to evolve and create new opportunities for character customization and battle strategy proves how awesome the system was and continues to be. It's amazing how many different things you can do here. Level boost materia gives you early access to stronger abilities, but you have to use up a slot to reap those benefits. Want to save a slot? Equip a fire and ice materia. You can even link it to elemental materia and get double advantage on offense or defense. The morph materia returns in a wonderful way, letting you go around mines, finding monstrosities like chimeras that you can now turn into gold. Morph is amazing! Why can't morph be a real life thing? Just find something almost at the end of its life cycle and boom! You can morph it into something much better. Stealing also continues to have its purpose, especially with sick gloves that boost it. Items like Fortitude Ring, one of the best accessories in the game, I mean even Sephiroth is equipped with it, can only be stolen from Rena. And even big boss quests like the Tonberry King require stealing in order to grab that crown to appease the Johnnies and their collection obsession. New materia wonders like Limit Siphon are extremely useful. If you play as Cloud the most, as many do, he's going to get hit quite a bit and have a majority of his limit built up, while others build slower. So you can top Clouds off by siphoning off a character who likely won't have the chance to use it anyway. I used this materia many times, and it helped out a ton.
Okay, you're out of luck. All done.
Attack Magic gives you a chance to make Barret a spiritual mage or Aerith a pummeling bruiser. There's more balance as well. You can only boost your HP up by 30%, regardless of how many you equip. So it's not smart to just load yourself up with those purple ords, and it keeps the challenge legit. Is the combat perfect? Nah. Nothing ever is. Sometimes there's so much happening that all you can do is mash buttons because the camera is flailing around.
Gonna pull back. Here goes.
I got you.
On a couple of occasions, I heroically finish off an enemy who then just proceeds to continue as if Sephiroth never impaled him.
Sephiroth, whew, you better step it up there, bud.
And oftentimes, against bosses, you're trying to exploit a weakness or heal up, but they'll do some annoying area of effect attack, knock you away, so you use your ATB charge, but you get knocked over before you can even do the action. That's happened on more than one occasion. Summon battles, they kick your ass, unless you find the majority of the summoning crystals. And there's several more conditions to win this time around. If you're able to block and deflect Odin's attacks, you can impress him and pressure him.
Get ready.
Do it! But if you continuously get hurt, fall over, and suck, as the assess info mentions, he grows tired and weary of your pathetic display and just insta-kills your party to death.
Hey, rein it in.
For those old enough to remember the 1997 Final Fantasy VII, I think we would mutually agree that at the time, the graphics in that game were cutting edge and just a step above the rest that was available at the time.
Yeah, the blocky Lego people, even in 97, were nothing special, but the pre-rendered backgrounds, each chock full of small animations and vivid detail, and especially the cutscenes, made N64 gamers and everyone else green with envy. And when you got into the battle sequences, well, damn, this looked so realistic to us at the time. It was pristinely constructed, with detailed background swaths of grasslands that made us wonder how much better visuals could get. But still, being as kids, we wanted even more. It was like, imagine if the entire world looked like this, and you could run around and explore it, instead of Cloud plodding around the overworld as if he's a giant. Well, when Aerith and crew emerge from Calm and see that saturated palette of nature, it puts into perspective how much there will be to explore and how opposite this game is compared to Remake. Every single blade of grass, flower, and flowing river is yours to soak in and examine. You can explore every abandoned outpost to find loot caches, wander to every deserted beach, slash buoys with a sword until they fly 100 feet in the air, watch where it lands, and then be like, whoa, there's a small rock island out there. Let's get my holy mage's dress soaking wet and make my 280-pound pal with a machine gun on his arm swim like Michael Phelps to it, and then I can find a bunch of loot and a materia orb. This sequence here is something that Remake never would have attempted, and puts into perspective perfectly the power of the PS5's polygon-pushing prowess. It's glorious.
I am not obsessed with the latest PC cards and cutting-edge graphic performance, 8K, 120 frames per second. That means nothing to me. I am just so satisfied that Final Fantasy VII's world is here for gamers to dig into, uncompromised and laid out for us to explore and enjoy.
I also found myself taking photos with regularity, simply because of how beautiful the world becomes at every new turn. The party even has to stare in awe at some of the scenic locations you come across. Yeah, there's still pop-in, especially if you're moving at high speed. It's not going to impress the graphic gluttons who need everything perfect, but for me, I'm grading it based on how well it establishes the planet you're roaming. It truly feels like what the original team would have done if the technology was available a quarter century ago. Seeing the entire party explore the world is one of my favorite things about Rebirth. All your fighters are just there, together, traveling around this colossal landscape, whether it's speeding down the abandoned highway on Chocobos or chilling in the box of that revamped buggy. It's presented just as we all imagined it would look in real life when we were kids. I just don't ever get tired of panning that camera and seeing the whole Final Fantasy VII group together in a fully realized recreation of our memories. Now, it's not flawless. While I appreciate the drastic improvements to NPC models, such as the flowing hair and more natural movement, seemingly only a couple dozen people and their clones populate the entire world. Look at how many times this brunette woman shows up just in Nibelheim. That's like a hamlet of 30 people. Why are there 3 clones in the same little tiny village? This same blonde shows up 5 times within 100 square feet of Junon. They really couldn't have crafted a few more character models? Or at least changed the clothes or hair color a bit? I mean, this woman here is a loner. This one, I guess, is a photographer. There's a socialite over here, and an alcoholic over here. There's well over 200 different voice actors, which is impressive, tons of variety there, but it feels like there's less than 20 different NPC models. Yikes. There's still some seriously creepy or dead-eyed staring visages too, like those Junon Undercity protesters.
I've actually been on those picket lines a couple times myself in my personal life, and let me tell you, that blank-eyed stare, that is not how it goes. It would not be like this.
Down with metaplots. Down with metaplots. Down with metaplots. Whispers should be silenced. Whispers should be silenced. Whispers should be silenced. Whispers should be silenced.
It's absolutely creepy. They look like zombies. Good luck negotiating for better pay or getting public support when you look at the public like that.
Oh, the physics model is also carried over from Remake. Remember how realistic that was?
Everything flies everywhere. That would friggin' hurt. What is going on here?
Someone call an exorcist!
There's been no improvements. Things just go haywire. You venture into the ominous Nibelheim mansion. The atmosphere is so dark and heavy. But the mystique is just ruined as you literally toss chairs into the air as you explore it, which then proceed to have seizures. A kindly farmer offers you rest, and then you launch his toolbox into the livestock. It even affects events like this Queen's Blood obsessive lady who barricades herself with a wall.
What a glorious wall, keeping us safe and secure. I could gaze at it all day. Excuse me. That was my barricade you just destroyed.
Yeah, well, it was dumb of you to build it in the first place, knowing how things fly around this easily. If you've watched any previous gaming introspection episode, you know how obsessed I can get with video game music. And my god, there's just an overload of riches when it comes to that. The Gongega jungle theme provides such an inviting, holistic melody that helps soothe the nerves, even as you try and track down that unfindable mushroom to get up that ledge, or that hidden enemy lair. New renditions of Aerith's theme continue to push out tears of nostalgia and, of course, sadness. While Cosmo Canyon's faithful melody reverberates throughout the mountainous village. And this location even includes cameo music from the Advent Children movie. Super cool. But the best part, as was the case in Remake, are the battle themes.
There's fighting music galore. And, well, it just kicks so much ass.
Even one-time sequences like this Beach Bot Battle Bonanza has specific, intense music that absolutely pumps you up and then makes you really want to go all out with that umbrella. You remember that otherworldly mithril mine theme? Yeah, they created a battle theme version of it, just for that single dungeon. Temple of the Ancients? Same thing there. that's going above and beyond. Even one-off mini-games like Barrett and Yuffie's Railroad Race absolutely rock your world as you blast through it. Small selections that should have been included in Remake, like the Rest at an Inn theme, finally return. A very small thing, I know, but any extra nostalgia is going to get tons of approval from the 30-somethings that this game is targeting. The most rigorous encounters somehow remix the "Let the Battles Begin" theme into even more impressive versions, each and every time the ante is raised, starting with the Midgar-Zolom fight, which ends amazingly. Followed up with a rendition of Fight On, with the all-female warriors clashing against Scarlet. That's just insane.
Don't tell me music doesn't make a difference.
We can't finish discussing the music, especially Aerith's theme, without mentioning her show-stopping performance in Loveless. Everything about this. I'm talking the quality of the singing, and that bittersweet, foreshadowing feeling many gamers would have gotten during its final phases. This is Rebirth's most emphatic, resounding explosion of modern technology. It's something that wouldn't have even been conceivable in 1997. Yeah, nitpickers will mention how the singer obviously isn't the same voice actor as Aerith, or how heavy-handed this might feel before the climactic chapter. However, I don't see the value in picking apart something that obviously took a lot of care and thought to create. This vocalized crescendo is a reason why remaking a treasured classic can be worthwhile. It's astonishingly crafted, right down to how everyone's relationships deepen during the curtain call at the end. Whether it's full of sorrow and pain, bizarre and unpredictable, or simply existing to make Chocobo races exciting to undertake, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's music is even better than remakes, and that is not an easy accomplishment.
I rightfully praise the voice actors' work in Remake, and they do an even better job here.
In fact, where have you been this whole time?
You know I can't tell you that.
Cloud in particular, he has a much more nuanced range, and so many more moments of actually opening up and smiling a bit.
Just be ready to spill your guts, huh?
With my iron stomach? That's gonna cost you $2,000.
It's especially well done in the flashback scenes, where his youthful bravado, at least from how he thinks he remembers it, flourishes.
What do you think?
I think I got this.
Then they're all yours.
Copy that.
And before leading his army to the Rufus parade sequence, he's bottled up and needs his girlfriends to spark the troops' morale.
We will not let our great city of Midgar down! Trust in him!
and he will lead us to victory.
But upon hearing this, Cloud gets into the commander's spirit.
And we will return home as champions! Who's gonna show the rest of them how it's done? We are! I can't hear you! We are!
So much so that Aerith has to remind him that he has a job to do, that he's not actually the captain of this squad. He expresses genuine regret after questioning Tifa's authenticity.
I figured it was too late.
What are you implying? That I died? That I'm some kind of imposter? You
regret what I said in calm.
Oh.
And hearing him degenerate into a creepy black materia puppet is genuinely disturbing.
Those we love, those we fear. Jenova would become anyone to fool her prey.
On more than one occasion.
Aerith, let's talk. I need it. Aerith, give it to me. Please. Aerith!
So well done. As for Barrett's voice actor, John Eric Bentley,
Marlene, she's alive. House was about to come down when I heard her crying. And ever since, she's been my reason to get up in the morning.
Gosh, damn! Man, I just wish I could meet him.
his performance, combined with the supremely more detailed graphics, show off Barrett's rage, sorrow, and humor like never before.
Man, you really just don't get it, do you? Oh, my sweet baby girl.
What now?
Your daddy. Your silly daddy. He's gonna fail you. Oh, I can't let you go. I just can't.
He seriously deserves an award for his work. Just a ridiculously amazing job. Barrett is portrayed with sincerity and intelligence.
I don't know what went down 5 years ago, but I'm here for you and Tifa. Whatever you need. If it's too much, just say the word. We'll leave.
While still somehow keeping a bit of that cheesy, Mr. T-inspired denseness that the gunslinger was initially known for.
Outlets are nothing but Shinra mouthpieces spewing propaganda. Only dumbasses believe that.
Question. Does that make me a dumbass?
I didn't say that. What I meant was...
And then there's Red. Honestly, how many of you were fooled by this?
I just can't remember.
Damn whispers.
Speaking of, you seen them lately?
I actually was. They got me.
I figured that Aerith was talking to a brand new character who came from another Whisper reality. Honestly, that's what I predicted was happening. But in a game that otherwise mystifies us with all these converging worlds and alternate timelines, which is a miss I think Rebirth handled very poorly, here, Square Enix just tricked me with the simplest thing. Red's true voice is that of an adolescent.
I doubt there's a thing or two you don't know about it.
Referring to the fact that Red is very young for his race's lifespan.
In that way to a child like yourself.
I'm not a child anymore. I'm 48.
40 what?
In human terms, I would say he's about 15 or 16 years old.
That wise, sagely sounding Red was just a cover-up to help endear himself and seem formidable.
Come again? What's a whisper when it's at home?
An arbiter of fate. They appear when destiny is about to be altered.
Though, his sense of humor was always on point, even then.
You've become one with the mountain.
Say what?
Really? I did? Hey! Thanks for having me!
The hell are you doing, Red? Relax, it happens to all new climbers. If she passes out, I'll carry her.
Normally, I'd cringe at this anime cliched, "I'll show you" type voice.
Look out! Whoops! It's over! You got this! You ready for some fun?
But here, I think it's fantastic. It's a signal that Red's embraced his true personality, a young, vibrant creature with tons to learn and energy to spare, with still enough heroic qualities to make him a true keeper of the veil. truly remarkable. The only actor I didn't like was Zack's.
Let's start this manhunt.
His voice just seems permanently set to happy-go-lucky, everything's all good, regardless of the circumstances.
Can't think that way. Aerith sure does sleep a lot, huh?
She'll die if she wakes up.
Oh, you think? What makes you say that?
I get it, he's an optimist by nature, but even cheerful types change their pitch when things go sideways. Aerith is clinging to life, but he doesn't seem too crushed about it.
This is so messed up.
So messed up. He doesn't even seem that upset after Biggs dies.
Biggs? Buddy? No. No.
I mean, 5 seconds later, he goes full Japanese anime cliche voice.
I'm always the punchline. This is my life. I make the rules.
See you never!
But I better save some Zack commentary for later. We'll talk plenty more about him coming up.
You want a piece of me?
Wow. Just look at it all.
How do you win over fans who are stifled with the confined hallways and suffocating linearity of Remake? Simple. You do the exact opposite.
Wow. Just look at it all. It's so green.
You give fans what they want, and then you give them more and more of it. You infuse your game with so many dopamine rush thrills that the fans have no choice but to admit that, yes, you were listening to that millennial generation who grew up with this game, and you hear them loud and clear. That was clearly the wrong footage. Let me try that again.
Nah, we're talking military parade performances, fighting off squid demons that look like Davy Jones, flying around with magical water chocobos, performing in theatrical dramas, waging wars with 1,000 needles, arming Cloud with a gun before switching to a half-naked version with an umbrella to fight off a robotic squid, trying to make green chocobos as cool as those blue ones, finding elixirs in random crates from a minecart race, proving Tifa's abs are harder than a jock's, throwing Aerith into a 1 versus mini tournament against bombs, and facing a timeless Final Fantasy antagonist of old.
Had enough?
It sure worked on me.
I couldn't even begin to fathom how big each map was.
Rebirth is so huge that I had to purchase a 4 terabyte SSD drive just to make sure I had ample space to collect and edit everything. Huh. Sorry, I'm just realizing that Rebirth pretty much cost me $500. If you count the PS5 that I bought pretty much for this game, that's over $1,000 on a game. Meh, what are you gonna do?
In Remake, you felt like you were constantly being herded through the narrowest of gaps and hallways, sometimes literally, with the constant sidling, ducking under, and crawling through things, disguising the fact that the PS4 was woefully unfit for such an ambitious project. Let's take a look back. Wow, Cloud, he tries to turn into Solid Snake here, shambling through vents and spying on different people, crawling around at 2 miles an hour. This is awful. This wouldn't even be exciting if you pumped the original Metal Gear Solid music in here as background. Even when you did get to explore with some quests and such, you ended up just running back and forth through the different slum areas of Sector 5 and Sector 7, sometimes to do the exact same thing, twice. Here, you are welcome to the world. As soon as you're done with Calm and Escape to the Great Outdoors, it becomes abundantly clear that the shrunken world map you were used to is now open and begging you to explore it. Barrett says it best at the outset.
Pick a direction and start walking.
Wander to every deserted beach, slash buoys with a sword until they fly 100 feet in the air. Watch where it lands, and then be like, whoa! There's a small rock island out there. Let's get my holy mage's dress soaking wet and make my 280-pound pal with a machine gun on his arm swim like Michael Phelps to it. And then I can find a bunch of loot and a materia orb. This sequence here is something that Remake never would have attempted and puts into perspective perfectly the power of the PS5's polygon-pushing prowess. It's glorious. Rebirth has a very Breath of the Wild feel to it, right down to the towers being very reminiscent of Breath of the Wild's Sheikah versions. And like that game, you're scaling terrain, which the prologue makes abundantly clear. Cloud is nimble, athletic, and can finally stretch his legs across a grand expanse of rocky mountainsides, blistering sand dunes, lush jungles, and barren wastelands. Random cache spots encourage you to explore, rewarding you with treasures. Chocobos, they just boost your options, each adding a new dimension every time. The basic Chocobo doubles your traveling speed, making it extra exciting to zoom around and uncover the grassland secrets. Dark Chocobos scale mountains, helping you find hidden life springs and quests. Green jungle versions launch off of mushrooms to take your breath away as you realize just how much square area there is to explore. And my favorite, the blue ocean Chocobos, somehow harness a perpetual water geyser to hover along Nibelheim's mountainous waterways. Together, their abilities, again, remind me of the constant mountain scaling and hand gliding from Breath of the Wild.
Realistic? Not in the least. But is it fun? Heck yeah, it is!
You see an owl, and no matter how many of them you find, it's just a thrill to get moving, knowing you'll find another new Lifespring location. Speaking of, some destinations were barely a footnote in the original Final Fantasy VII, like Gongega. It's almost entirely optional to even go there, save for a tiny part midway through the game. It's just a couple huts, a fork in the road, and a reactor screen. That's it. Well, now it's completely transformed into a lush, vibrant jungle teeming with organic life all over the place. On a wider scale, though, there's still segments that manage to make the game feel like classic Final Fantasy VII Exploring 2. While the buggy is much more impressive and enhanced with features like autopiloting right to you, it serves that same function of river crossing and easy overworld trekking that the original had. When the tiny Bronco is shot down and you're forced to coast through the river systems and the Meridian Ocean, I was taken back to 97, where you felt so small and the world felt so big. Each time the plot advances and you see a new continent, the whole area completely obscured with cloud cover, you think back to games like Ocarina of Time, and you realize that it's going to be a long but fun ride full of surprises. Once you've opened up that huge world, the PS5's power comes in handy when you want to fast travel, sending you literally across the world in less than 5 seconds. It's especially useful when you complete a part of a quest and need to go somewhere else to collect your reward. Remember Remake? It took over 40 seconds just to quit a minigame. A tiny minigame where you broke boxes like a maniac. That's not fun. Who wants to sit here and look at this feeble flickering loading icon? No one! The fact that I can rant this long about load times in a game that was released only 4 years ago is another damning strike against Remake, a game that was already full of many flaws, some of which were much bigger than load times. Check it out while you wait for this load screen to finish. Oh my god, are you done? Finally, we're back to this tiny area. Oh, the CPU and GPU must have really stressed to render those kids and their cardboard sword animations. Oh, that kind of effect, you know, that requires some grunt work.
You are given much more freedom and opportunities to interact with your party members as well.
It's so cool to have to choose options that you think each of your comrades will react positively towards.
Do you remember the first time we met?
You shoved a flower in my face.
It's called a gift, Cloud.
The church, right?
Oh, so close. That was the second time.
Nope.
You're kidding. The yellow flower, Sector 8?
Although, honestly, it doesn't seem to matter if you make them angry, sad, or happy. Everything you say deepens the bond. Like here, Red quizzes me on mushroom knowledge.
Which of these do you think they are?
I fail miserably.
Too easy. The middle patch.
So close, yet so wrong.
And yet the relationship deepens. See the circle improvement? Went from a green circle to a brighter blue circle. So as long as you remember to just talk to everyone, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I totally agree.
What? Ugh, should've known better than to get philosophical with you.
Still, it gives some replay value just to hear all the different reactions, and this ceremony at Cosmo Canyon exhibits huge differences in the tone of the scene, depending on Cloud's decisions too. One that stood out to me was his reaction to Aerith's emotional Cetra speech.
It's okay. That's enough!
It's okay. I'll keep going.
I'm so glad that we're still given a choice of how our Cloud develops, and it all ties in so amazingly to the gold saucer date, which is so cool. It deserves a video all on its own to go in depth with them all and the conversations within. It's not just the one-on-one interactions either. You can alter a railroad track to be more thrilling if you want Barrett to be satisfied.
I hate you, Cloud! You're dead, you spiky-haired... Cloud, you're so gonna pay for this.
Give the man a break. I think it was a memorable experience.
Or you can spare Yuffie extra motion sickness.
Guess Cloud didn't feel like completely screwing us over.
What a letdown.
Almost every quest you undertake will feature one of the party members as a partner companion, thus letting you deepen your relationship with them if you succeed. It's up to you how much you want party camaraderie to develop.
There's something for everyone here. Do you want to practice piano?
Just look at the depth presented in this minigame. There's all the main chords and notes, options to change the pitch of both your main tones and semitones, and a whole bunch of stuff I don't know nearly enough about to comment on. And several of the pieces are very difficult. Forcing you to practice a lot to make that A grade for a reward.
Mellifluous melodies are all the more pleasing.
I wish I was better at this, because it's remarkable how much care was put into it, and it's amazing how much they expanded on this random tidbit from ages past, where Cloud jams on Tifa's piano, expanding and growing it into a globe-trotting pianist.
Pianist. That's an apt word for the situation I'm describing. Stop smiling.
A globe-trotting pianist quest! It's so satisfying to fully complete Aerith's song in piano. Even though most of us wouldn't have a hope with actual ivory, the sense of accomplishment and emotion of the added instrumentals if you do well makes the chills flow through us. Then there's the proto-relic quests. These are daunting and take up dozens of hours, but they also contribute tons to the point I'm trying to make, as they encompass such a variety of tasks. And while some of those jobs are so mundane, including this awful stealth mission against those loser thieves from Remake, others are must-see adventures, which includes the discovery of Fort Condor.
I was so pumped to see this in the game.
If you've seen my original Final Fantasy VII retrospective, you know it's my favorite added element in the original. Rebirth is a revamped version of that strategy minigame from before. While I was disappointed that the actual Fort Condor isn't a fully realized location in Rebirth's new world, it's now just kind of like a board game that exists within it.
Fort Condor, huh? Takes me back. Used to study basic tactics with it.
Game's pretty fun, actually. Wedge was into it, and he and I'd play sometimes.
This is made up for by the fact that it has PS1 style artwork, similarly to how the 97 game's Fort Condor consisted of a retro 8-bit design, and it keeps that thrilling action strategy flow of the original, with a strategy triangle and different units that fare better against specific foes, complete with all the ornaments like catapults. And this time, you can even deploy Cloud, Tifa, and Barret on the battlefield to do one-time buff attacks that can completely save you when the match is getting out of hand. It's a challenging but nostalgic experience that helps you on the way to finding Gilgamesh, whose eccentric personality makes the time investment so rewarding with each and every amusing cutscene and eventually battle you have against him. I know Gilgamesh has reappeared in other Final Fantasy games, and I'm glad that they put him in this version of Final Fantasy VII, because he's a fan favorite. It's truly an endurance once you finally get to fight him, first forcing you to battle against your incredible collection of summoning materia before a final showdown with the eccentric swordsman himself. Again, you don't need to do any of this, but the game encourages you every step of the way with rewards aplenty. It's also riddled with so bad it's good dialogue.
Excalibur! My Excalibur! This is what Excalibur!
Want to spend hours at the Gold Saucer minigames, trading in points for rare cards and participating in combat arenas with multiple squad mates and 6-person battle teams? You can. Want to scour the world for various resources and buff up your equipment to top tier levels? Go for it. Find every secret of the world intel to craft the rarest materia? For sure. Race chocobos across an almost Mario Kart amount of tracks? Spend hours switching beach outfits? Play cards against dogs? Dig up toy models from the soil? Make Red tackle a ball that's 4 times his size? Have Cloud trade in his sword for a gun?
Take pictures of bunnies? Or do you simply want to just ignore all that outside noise?
Feel every bump in the road as it happens in this rewritten plot thread. Enjoy your most beloved cast of RPG characters bonding.
Oh, no, you don't. That bed's mine.
Sweet dreams.
See you tomorrow.
Traveling. Helping.
What's Cloud been doing these past 5 years? Where's he been?
And you're asking me this?
And fighting together. Until you reach what you knew was going to be at the end, even though you also knew that you wouldn't be prepared for it. That focused narrative option is open to you as well.
Rebirth is a massive improvement over Remake.
Linear world?
Gone.
Small scope?
Out the friggin' window. Whoops.
Character development?
You're damn right!
Nice work, guys! We did it! We won!
Of course we did.
Improved in every single way. So, can we just celebrate and say that Rebirth is the best Final Fantasy VII game ever? Perhaps even the pinnacle of this 38-year-old franchise?
What's a whisper?
Queen's blood?
An arbiter of fate.
With Queen's blood in my guitar, I'm gonna be a star.
Dad, have you heard of Queen's blood?
Unfortunately, not. It's time to examine some of Rebirth's biggest misses.
Oh, people call me Crybaby Dad.
You know, I've never really been a completionist when it comes to video games. I'm too old, for one thing. I don't have all the time to collect all these platinum trophies. Blast Corps turned me against that endeavor before most of you were even born.
But one rare exception I am proud to claim is Final Fantasy VII Remake. I enjoyed its modest amount of content, persevering so that even the hard difficulty didn't deter me from finding that ultimate completion award.
Now, I knew pretty early on that I wasn't going to 100% Rebirth trophies. See, that's not even close. But there's a huge reason for that. See, I truly did as much as I could.
See, I got almost every single quest done, minus one outlier. The world intel is 100% completed, but you'll notice that one of the stats in every region is woefully incomplete. These are the number of defeated Queen's Blood opponents. Opponents who are fans of a somehow wildly popular card game. A game that makes Rebirth lose just a smidge of its otherwise wondrous luster.
Want to go around against my little angels here? I believe in my cards and they believe in me. We're like a big happy family. You're so cute. You're so cool. You gotta show them every day how much you care.
This Queen's Blood game is the worst attempt at making an all-encompassing pastime within a video game world that I have ever seen.
I would rather play through 100 full seasons of Blitzball than play one more Queen's Blood game. Although, honestly, I think Blitzball is a blast. Check out my Final Fantasy X retrospective later if you want more thoughts on what is a superior minigame in every aspect.
But as for Queen's Blood, I sincerely wanted to give it a chance. I did! I really did! I'll prove it to you!
Hey Dad, have you heard of Queen's Blood? All the kids at school are playing it.
Huh. I wonder what that is.
Queen's Blood?
Wow, a card game? It's been a while since cards were like a big part of the minigames in Final Fantasy. I have so many warm memories of Triple Triad in Final Fantasy VIII. Yeah, let's do this! Where are the Queen's Blood players at?
Oh, people call me Crybaby Dad.
Oh dear.
Oh, what am I thinking? You look like you'd murder me.
Oh my god.
The more tears I shed, the better I get at Queen's Blood.
Oh, shut up!
Oh, Crybaby Dad. Oh, Crybaby Dad. Oh,
Crybaby Dad.
Oh, wow. Well, that did not introduce the game in a very positive way at all.
It's perfectly healthy for adults to cry too, you know.
It's the first player that you can compete with.
I want to play, but what if I lose?
Does this guy make you want to be a part of the Queen's Blood culture?
I'm gonna throw up.
But hey, let's try it out. Let's give it a chance. I mean, these cards look pretty cool. Let's check the tutorial out and, okay.
So, you place cards in 3 lanes. Now that's simple so far. And you see, there's power numbers, which we'll get into in a second. Obviously, all these positions open up as soon as you place the card, which could be all over the board, and are different for each card because, you know, that's simple. And when you open up positions, you can play more cards, and you can claim those as yours. So it's kind of a game of area dominance. When you claim positions, don't think that that'll raise your rank though. I'm not sure why you'd make that assumption, because the rules are so obvious obvious and so goddamn crystal clear. Ranks? It shouldn't need to be explained, but yeah, there's pawn icons, which are the ranks, and you can up the ranks by putting those positions in that minuscule map in a way that overlaps with the cards on the spaces, so the rank goes up, so you can't play more cards until you rank up your cards. And of course, there's microscopic red tiles that correspond to abilities of cards, and every single card has its own ability. And of course, the power of the card means you get points if you win a lane, but you can also win 2 out of 3 lanes but still lose the whole game, because the other player may get a crap ton of points in their one lane that they won, so yeah! Those are the basics. Whew, yeah, confusing much? Maybe it'll be simpler than it looks.
First thing I'm going to do is carefully craft my deck. I'm going to put all my rank 1 cards at the start. That just makes sense, because you have to power them up before you play your rank 2 cards. So I'll carefully pick some rank 1 cards, yeah, and we need a few rank 2 and maybe a couple rank 3. Good. Okay, let's leap into this game. What? Mulligan? You don't even get to pick the cards that you start with. All you can do is toss some away if you don't want them at the start. Why? Why can't you pick the cards that you want to play first? That's ridiculous.
What is going on? Why are there 3 green tokens on a space, but I have 0 as my score? Why are there green pillars of light randomly appearing? And what is this death omen above this card space? How is it that I have all these tokens, but the other guy seems to walk all over the board and dominate me? I've played tons of level 1 cards, but I can't play my higher cards?
Why can't I put the card there?
Oh, play it! Play it! Why are my cards getting destroyed? Ah! My cute little furry animal looks like it got possessed by some demon card spirit. Oh, god damn it. Look, I left this row alone, and now I'm getting trounced on the scoreboard. I'll just have to play a card here for no reason.
Why do some cards just get obliterated?
That was lucky for me, but God knows how I did it. And not only that, you can destroy your own cards too. Why would you want to do that? And how do I power up the cards? I can never remember this crap. It tells me how right there, but I just can't figure this out. I have all these cards that I can't play.
Ah! Oh! Defeat. Defeat. Yep, lose.
You're pretty good at this game, huh?
I guess.
I really suck at this. Maybe I should pay a bit more attention to the abilities. Oh, there's so many of them, but maybe it's worth learning. Let's see.
I'm sure they're all easy to understand, and a lot of the cards probably share the same ability, so I'll figure this out.
Okay, here's one. Raise the power of allied cards on affected tiles by 2 while this card is in play.
Makes sense. Power up the cards. Grenadier, when played, lower the power of enemy cards by 4. Okay, yeah, I'm with it so far. Weaken the enemy. Wait, what? Toxirat.
When played, lower the power of allied and enemy cards on affected tiles by 3.
Why the hell would you lower the power of your own cards? Is that why they get obliterated sometimes? Heat Seeker. When destroyed, add Heat Seeker minion to your hand. Okay, what the hell is that? Minion? Is that just another card altogether? Posh Chocobo.
When you win the lane, receive a score bonus of 3. Okay, I at least know what a lane is. That's about the only thing I do know.
Fat Chocobo creates a surfeit of positions around it when played. For the love of God, what is a surfeit?
Surf it.
You have to be a literary scholar just to comprehend this diversion? Oh, let's look that up. Oh, look, it means an excessive amount of something. And the ancient meaning centers on having too much food or drink. No doubt. I'm beginning to think you'd have had to have consumed too much drink to have any fun with this game. Yeah, that infinitesimally small grid shows you what it does, but you shouldn't have to look up definitions of words. Give me a break. Thug. This card has no abilities. Oh, thank you! Oh, I wish all the rest of the cards were like this. But hey, maybe that's a sign that things are looking up. Amalgam.
When destroyed, add resurrected algam to your hand. Yeah, I'll definitely remember that.
This game sure likes destroying its cards. The Joker card gets buffed whenever things die, and the Grand Horn card destroys one of your own cards and takes its place. It's almost like the game is telling the cards how feeble their existence is. Wait, what's this? Cave Stalker. When first enfeebled...
Enfeebled? You can enfeeble cards? What does that mean? Do you turn them into a 105-year-old man?
Okay, I'm drawing the line right here. Look at this! There's multiple enfeebled rules too, including cards that can be both enhanced and enfeebled, like Two-Face.
Oh, there's so many rules!
You'd be surprised how easy Queen's Blood is to pick up and play.
It's not just that the abilities are so varied. The tiles on the board that the cards affect are also all different. Every single one. Like, you can't just worry about the card you're playing. You have to look at this microscopically small grid and know that it's going to open up spots or power up or power down potentially a dozen other cards on the board. Jesus! When every card is so different, it means that there's no intuitive way to get on board with all the rules. Most of the time, I just end up seeing this message: you cannot play any cards. It's as if the game's saying, just give it up, you dumbass.
And from then on, I just completely disregarded it. I found myself walking away from every opportunity to ever play it. There's nothing good about it. Even the background lore behind the history of the game is undercooked.
The only real data you get on it is from this hermit in a shack who tells you about the past kingdom of old.
Name comes from that legend of the queen who ruled the world till she was deposed and killed by her people. And from that royal blood spilt sprouted the fiends of the world.
Since when did a queen even exist in Final Fantasy VII's universe anyway?
Actually, for being a mystical fantasy series, there's not much in the way of queens in the Final Fantasy universe at all. The only prominent one that comes to mind is Queen Braun in Final Fantasy IX, that hideously obese tyrannical monstrosity that only has one lucid moment in the entire game, which is a deathbed confession to Dagger. And here, it's all about the blood of a queen which apparently made all the monsters appear?
What does Square have against queens? Oh, I'm sorry, I know I digressed again, but can you blame me? This crap is awful!
And what's with this blood emphasis? In Remake, Square didn't have any blood. Throughout the whole thing, even the red Genova slime was censored. Here, there's tons of blood, and most of that is created by Cloud in his murderous rampages. The card game stoops to some shocking lows, trying to lure me into a game with my love of country music. This is a friggin' sweet 6-string guitar riff, but I am not being pulled in, even though I'd love to sing with it.
With Queen's blood in my guitar, I'm gonna be a star. With my razzle-dazzle, I'm gonna win all the card battles.
Queen's blood makes me feel dance. So baby, it don't make sense. It sucks so bad. It's not like I had a prejudice or any past qualms about having a card game as the main minigame either. I mean, just look at Final Fantasy VIII.
Triple Triad is an intuitive, easy-to-understand strategy game that makes the rules abundantly clear. Bigger numbers mean you take the other player's card if you place it adjacent to it. Simple! Yes, there's combo rules, where some basic math is required, having you add different quantities beforehand so you can potentially claim more than one card at a time. But that's just it. You can plan these out beforehand. It's a small, easy to manage 3x3 grid. You can see everything, often including your opponent's hand, so strategy can actually be planned. In Queen's Blood, there's like 15 potential spaces for cards to be played. It takes forever with 15 cards in each player's deck, and you also have no idea what cards your opponent has. So you're just out of luck. Too bad for you, loser. Not to mention, in Triple Triad, you can choose which cards you start with at least. That's another beef of mine. You spend an hour crafting your 15 card deck, or multiple decks, then the match starts and you just randomly get 5 cards out of it to play with. Yeah, you can mulligan them, as we've shown, and draw different cards from your deck, but you have no idea which ones will appear, so you just have to pray and wish for good luck. Why put all these abilities in if the cards you use just randomly get pulled from the deck? These rank 3 cards in particular are useless in the opening stages. Why do you have to sort through all this crap? In Triple Triad, you have one total collection of cards in which you construct one simple 5-hand deck to work with in each round. No tiers, no ranks, no powering up cards, no nothing. It was intuitive and easy to learn, but tough to master. There's some additional wrinkles to keep track of, like elemental icons on the grid which power up or weaken cards, but that's nice and easy to follow. You add or subtract 1 from the card's worth, depending on if the element on your card matches the one on the board. Even people as dumb as a post, like me, can figure that out. Queen's Blood's got this card will raise power over this one, and it'll lower power but only when enhanced. Play this one to destroy cards, add this much points to this row, or make a resurrected version of a card spawn in your hand, or create a surfeit of explosions or positions or whatever the hell else. Enfeeble things. It's just a goddamn mess.
Oh, I tried to win. At least when I started.
I bought all the booster packs. I even got legendary cards, like Dio's card at the Gold Saucer. But this game just doesn't click with me. The only round I remember using strategy on purpose was when I played this Mog card, which gives you a 3-point bonus if you win the lane that it's on. And also this card, which destroyed the opponent's upper lane card. That's the only time I can actually pat myself on the back for using strategy. Everything else? Well, your opponent always gets to play last, so they can see what the field is like and put their ultimate ability cards, destroying your cards, weakening them, or giving their own cards buffs. In Triple Triad, this order was always randomized, which is much better, making you get used to playing with the first or the last card. Here, your opponent always gets the last move. It's like in baseball. It's always better to have the last at bat. I've found people who share this opinion as well.
Actually, you see, it's very simple.
You're complaining just because you suck at it. I'm a jock, and even I figured it out. Yeah, I get it. I really suck at this game. I won't deny that.
But I have done some digging, and I'm not the only one who struggles with this. Other real-life people have voiced their displeasure of Queen's Blood. Even popular websites like thegamer.com have an entire article dedicated to how cheap and advanced the AI is within the game.
So either there is some credibility to what I'm saying, or there's just a lot of dumbasses like me out there that are really struggling with this minigame for whatever reason.
And I'm actually pretty good at the other strategy minigames. I fought through the 4 escalating difficulty battles of Fort Condor and went undefeated in the BattleBots minigame.
So I'm not that stupid. I don't think.
Even the music is worse in Queen's Blood.
You're going down.
Ugh. That sounds like some amateur high school trumpet marching band practicing for a pep rally.
Compare that to Final Fantasy VIII's catchy yet subdued rhythmic trance, which helps immerse you in the deliberate thought-making process as you carefully choose each card. Oh, and it incorporates the Final Fantasy Victory fanfare too as a beautiful, nice touch. While we're talking audio, there's commentary sometimes, but it flip-flops, as if even the game has no idea who is winning the match from one move to the next.
Cloud keeps the hits coming as he maintains a solid advantage. That smile says it all, folks. Aerith knows she's winning this one.
You name the opponent. I've lost to them.
I've lost to random NPCs, lost to Aerith, lost to a moonwalking Michael Jackson-style Red. Even Barrett's block-headed, dense cranium was more intelligent than me. Amateur creepy ventriloquist girls, twin boys who also stole my money, punks in bars with an IQ of 45 from Remake who are so burnt out on whatever substance it made it even more humiliating to give them money afterwards, golden statue men who should be out on the Las Vegas Strip earning money instead of beating my ass, chocobos, and dogs!
I can't even succeed against common animals!
These opponents are incapable of complex thought, don't even have opposable thumbs, yet they intricately place their ability cards, destroying mine and zoning me out before I can blink.
Our Oscar's pretty smart, isn't he?
Bet you underestimated him because he's a dog, huh?
Ironically, one of the only opponents I was able to beat was an advanced AI robot thing which couldn't adapt its strategy on the fly.
Lost register.
Queen's blood.
Oh, for the love of God. Surely I can beat this comatose simpleton.
Play me.
He can barely say 2 words. He probably needs the workers to simply keep his body clean and assist him in taking a goddamn tinkle.
I got this. Even I have some shred of pride. 24 points! I lost to a man who couldn't even dress himself! Holy shamoly, buddy! Wow!
Honestly, I bet even I could beat you.
Yeah, that really helped my self-esteem. Thanks. You're a model support worker. You're definitely in the right industry there, lady.
To hell with this. I might as well just get a deck of cards and play 52 card pickup. I totally screwed myself over. And I undoubtedly look like a dumbass doing this. But at least I understand the rules.
Bam, son! You're going down.
It gets worse. Yep.
Halfway through the game, where you need to collect Chocobo greens instead of just racing and winning like the original, and you are forced to win 3 Queen's Blood matches! You cannot advance the story unless you win 3 card games against intermediate opponents. This is almost game-breaking for people like me who aren't too smart.
I gotta say, I was tempted to just restart from scratch. Hell, I thought I might never ever beat Rebirth. I couldn't even look online for help because I was scared to death of spoilers.
For serious, I was convinced I'd stumble upon crazy stuff like Cloud is actually a Chocobo, or Sephiroth and Aerith are actually one and the same, or some other crazy spoiler like that. So I was helpless, tied down. This is asinine!
Kill me.
During Chapter 5, you're on a ship whose only form of entertainment is Queen's Blood. And even this early in the game, I knew I was never going to get better, so I just skipped through most of this crap. In fact, here, the game gives you an option to forfeit during any point of the tournament.
Oh, you aren't. If that's what you want, then so be it.
It seems initially like Square knew some players would suck at it, like me, so they gave them an out. But now, you're a prisoner at Gold Saucer's rambunctious, gang-ridden dungeon. You've got beautiful women literally locked in a cage, a narcissist who won't take any input from anyone. And so the only way to get anyone out of this is to suddenly become good at this godforsaken card game. Even though before, Rebirth is like, it's okay. You don't really have to play it. That's such BS.
Why would you require a player to become proficient at an otherwise optional strategy card game in order to advance the plot? At least include difficulty options for dumbasses like me.
If you suck at the fighting, you can easily swap the difficulty to easy and have your way with enemies. Even other throwaway minigames, like the Moogle Roundup, have difficulty options. That's one of the worst experiences ever, with those cheeky bastards just having fun hitting Cloud with everything they got. But at least you can change the difficulty. And, as that states, the intel and progress is recorded regardless of how you beat it. And that, at least, has a payoff. You get to see Moogle Cloud and Moogle Cloud sword poses.
This doesn't have any payoff.
Eventually, I won. Don't ask me how, I have no idea. I honestly just randomly placed cards over and over again over a half-hour period in different spots on the board until I finally, by some stroke of luck, won. Couldn't explain how I did it if I wanted to. There's not even a reward or consequence system. I didn't gain anything from most Queen's Blood matches. Only very rare quests actually give you cards. Some quests are all about getting a card back for someone else, and then they shuttle you off to a corner of the world to play a match against another person who actually had the card.
Right, the card. Kinda awkward, but I don't have it anymore. I was on my last gill, so I had to sell it to a card collector.
And you never lose any cards. I mean, that's good for me, or I wouldn't have made it past Chapter 1. But what's the point? In Triple Triad, you could potentially lose all of your cards. And even in the lowest stake games, the winner gets to pick one card from the loser. As for doing it for collectibles' sake, yeah, there are rare cards, like the Cloud and Sephiroth cards, but almost all of those are just found doing these awful puzzle challenges at the vacation resort. There's no variety. By the way, does this Regina girl become important to the plot at all? I'm assuming she has some deep character arc, which I would have loved to see. I don't have anything against her, but I just can't bring myself to give a rat's ass when the activity she's affiliated with is this vomit-inducing. Again, referring back to Final Fantasy VIII, for those character-specific cards, you had to earn them through challenging important characters, which actually had something to do with the story and the plot, like challenging Laguna, Squall's father, in order to get his card. It's a very rare opportunity that only comes along once, and as I've stated, that game was fun, and it made you want to challenge everyone anyway, so it was an exciting find. This is just mundane, boring, and has no thrill of the chase. I could go on even more, but I've had it up to here with this awful diversion.
Oh God, I lost. But I feel a lot better after having a good cry.
I'm thankful Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has a much better collection of amusing distractions. Even the frogs hopping over propeller blades trumps this card game. At least my simpleton mind can figure the objective out in that.
Rip it.
Go ahead, gamers, rip me a new one. I'm sure I deserve it, if for no other reason than wearing this absolutely dumbass hat.
Queen's Blood must obviously be easier than I think it is, or it wouldn't have been mandatory for the plot. But also, I am hoping that there are others out there who struggled like me, so that this doesn't become a thing in the third and final game of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. Or, at least, if not difficult per se, some people who found it boring and unnecessary.
Gas levels reduced by 70%.
You see that? What's that say? Yeah, over 130 hours. Now, because of me having to stop and pause and take notes whenever something significant happens as I play through, those numbers are definitely inflated. But make no mistake, I mean, I bet some of you out there also have hit the century mark and beyond on your Rebirth playthrough.
Some of those hours are spent doing intricate rifle choreography during military performances, going on dates with various people at the Gold Saucer, and hearing all of the pent-up emotion between Cloud and his comrades. Beating up robots with umbrellas while Johnny clones rush to the rescue. And watching Palmer slap his ass in your face as he desperately attempts to become relevant to the story.
Those instances leave an impression to be sure. But the rest of the time?
You're wasting minutes of your life attempting the most precise way to pull out a jungle mushroom, jiggling it to and fro to see where the most resistance is. Who the hell cares? Rip that thing out of the ground! It'll all taste the same when you throw it in that pot. It's bad enough you have to use a chocobo and tediously sniff the damn plants out. You have to increasingly tug and prod these fungi every which way to make the most of this fetch quest. Why? Quests upon quests appear, sending you around the world. You get worn down. In fact, you're just trying to heal yourself after fighting horde after horde of monsters. And Cloud? He doesn't think that these older, roughed up benches are good enough for him anymore. In Remake, he was grateful just to get off his feet for a couple seconds. But here, he has to pull out a cushion. That battle-hardened ass needs pampering. Cloud flourishes this delicate pillow before taking his seat, as if he's a member of the royal family. These cushions are not free either. You have to spend gil on them, or use recipes and resources to craft them.
And look at that thing! That doesn't look comfortable.
We're talking about padding. This thing has no padding. It looks less dense and comfy than a friggin' whoopee cushion. Come to think of it, they should have put that in there instead. At least there'd be a bit of juvenile humor each time someone sits down and farts. You could even alter the sound depending on which character you're using. I can't get over the cushion's pathetic appearance. It looks like a flattened pancake or something. Here's this battle-tested, stubborn, hard-ass ex-soldier who won't stand to get some dust on his can. I know I'm nitpicking, but using a cushion every time adds seconds, and you'll be using these things a lot.
Imagine if you and I had these overwhelming standards when it comes to our comfort preferences.
I live in rural Canada. The ground is frozen until the 16th of May, but I can still rest on it if I'm off on a hike. It serves the same purpose. Sure, the ass gets a bit frosty, but I'll survive. For me, if I were to actually discover a stump to sit on, that is like premium bang for my butt right there. It's solid, sturdy, and won't give way. I'm a country boy. used to roughing it, and Cloud actually has a similarly backwoods childhood. Nibelheim is out in the sticks just as much as me. But nope, he's apparently too good for a worn-down bench now. It boggles the mind. When you invite company over, do they pompously scoff at the state of your upholstery and refuse to sit down until a more suitable cushion is placed on top of it? No! When the weather's nice, I don't elevate myself at the prospect of just resting on a stump and have to pull out a cushion to make sure I'm better than someone else. My God! Another failure of Rebirth is how the padding completely saps the energy and momentum out of the story. It's like, whoa, there's this thrilling Keystone Arena fight! Ah! Oh, Kate Sith stole the Keystone, and he betrayed the group!
Oh my God!
But instead of really building on this and getting the momentum to the endgame, you get holograms and notifications galore about all this other stuff you should probably do first, since you can't do it once you tackle the Ancient's Temple. Speaking of which, by the time you're done going through this 5-hour dungeon, the energy and anticipation you once felt going through the story setups has long since dissipated. There's lame puzzles where you flip the temple around again and again, trying to figure out the lay of the land, culminating in climbing vines, which is just as slow and tedious as it was 25 years ago in games like Zelda, Ocarina of Time. Add on some boring walkarounds with Aerith, where you have to stop and pray several dozen times every time a green dot appears, and 3 separate push the block orb thing into the obvious gap to inexplicably make a foothold or seal a hole. There's a kick-ass boss fight against a classic Final Fantasy villain, the Iron Giant, but even that is just a plot device to introduce that third pushable block. Even the 6 trials seem to drag on into infinity. They're just slightly more detailed retellings of events that 99% of players already know or don't care about, especially Yuffie's. I never played through the DLC, so all this Sonon talk is completely lost on me. This abduction tortured looking guy, it just looks like a creepy Resident Evil fetish that I don't want to know any more about. Not a tragic flashback of a mission gone wrong, which I'm assuming that's what it is. Before I got to this, I was completely stuck here. What the hell am I supposed to do? I climb up and down and run around like a Spider-Man who's had one too many beers, parkouring back and forth for minutes, before I realized you can keep ninja dashing around the side of the skyscraper to find more pinwheels and speech bubbles. Is this the fun and excitement? Tifa's... Well, we've seen this a million times before. It's virtually unaltered and was already shown in both the original and remake. Every fan has seen this at some point.
I'm sick of this. I'm sick of all of this!
Oh, see? Even Tifa's sick of going through this time and again. And Red's is dragged out so much that it falls flat. Sorry for the pun there, but it's just, yeah, we know this was awful and cruel. There's nothing added, except disturbing imagery that would be tough to watch if you're squeamish or very fond of animals, which means it's no good to anyone. By the time Aerith delivers what should have been an inspiring speech about the power of forgiveness and writing the future and stopping Sephiroth, even I just wanted to skip through the damn thing.
Pain and the anger we carry can make us stronger, but at what cost? True strength comes from our ability to forgive, making things right. It comes from ourselves, and not even Sephiroth will
I just wanted to shout out,
are you finished?
Yes! Thank you! At least the game knows enough about its rambling to become self-aware.
No, I'm not a monster. The extended flashback of young Aerith in the slums, desperately trying to find a compassionate soul in the worst possible area of a dystopian city, with almost all of us knowing how this is going to end.
I'm sorry, Mommy. I tried.
Mommy has to return to the planet.
If you don't shed tears here, you need to check for a pulse. This is certainly a worthy addition, as is Barrett's.
What's wrong, baby? You okay?
If a damn Whisper or Arbiter of Fate or one of those damn things offered him an option to just stay in this time and space for eternity, do you think he would have taken it? And for such a brief appearance, you can definitely feel the love he had for Myrna.
Wake up, baby. Wake up! Don't leave me. Not again.
And don't get me wrong, by and large, the quests are much better than Remake. You get less awfully dressed NPCs with no emotional attachment, and many more endeavors that shed some light on the main party. Barrett shares his stance on parenting with Cloud, for example, as you undertake a quest for the Junon Mayor's son.
Loads of parents are like that, but I told myself I'd be different. I'd never keep my little girl from flying.
This is a very ridiculous quest, but I can't really get angry at it because they turned the Stamp Dog song into a techno battle theme that just reinforces the importance of levity and humor that is a true tribute to the original game. By the way, if you want to see a more light-hearted episode, check it out right here. One of my favorites is chasing the Gi Warriors across Cosmo Canyon with Red. If you succeed, it sheds some light on just exactly what went down when Seto encountered those unfortunate souls who simply could not die. It's stuff that you won't learn just going through the plot as it's laid out.
Swayed were we by his courage and sincerity, but we chose to entrust with him our singular desire.
Others fail miserably, however. Leslie makes up one of the last batch of quests you can do, and he is still a melodramatic, emo, grunge-depressed soul. In the first game, you had to wade through feces and urine just to find a pendant that reminds him of his unrequited Jessie romance. Well, here, you head into an equally dismal dung heap down in the center of the earth to rescue an unnamed girl who is never even seen or named.
She's a prize? That's sick.
You have to fight one-on-one. It's tough. You gotta use each of your party members against Gus's army of illegal soldiers and monsters, all to help Leslie, who thinks that the next love of his life has been abducted.
It's just a hunch, but I think she might be who I'm looking for.
It sounds noble and everything, but it turns out it was just...
Different girl. Just a random tourist from Midgar.
Just a random girl from Midgar. Look at this! You don't even see her! She literally is represented by this text at the bottom of the box.
What an insult to, well, whoever that was. Whoever that little text represents. And what an insult to the player for wasting half an hour of their life on this. This is brutal.
Johnny, too, is still around, and except for that previously shown amusing cloned Johnny plot point, he doubles, or should I say septuples, his obnoxiousness, burdening you with ridiculous quests that force you to endure 7 extra Johnnies, complete with so much more of the obnoxious voiceovers.
Oh, that was pretty smart of me! No one knows me better than myself!
As you complete each part of the most mundane side quests ever. Go find suddenly appearing loot bags by zip lines across this tropical beach landscape, and then use some materials in your item transfuser to literally create a part for a boiler.
Oh baby, this is it! That boiler is as good as fixed!
Making boiler parts, I mean, this is something that you would only have to actually worry about if you were involved, working in that industry, in real life. You're telling me they couldn't think of some other exciting side quest besides fixing boilers? That's not a fantasy Japanese RPG quest.
Then there's these what were they thinking quests. Does this look like fun? You wander around a barren Nibelheim mountain range, following robes that move 2 miles an hour. The game even encourages you to shove them as a means of making this slightly more tolerable. First of all, it just makes Cloud look like a rude asshole. And secondly, really? Is this the epitome of the Final Fantasy VII development team? You just follow them all over the map from place to place to place. And do they really deserve this? Robes are seen throughout the story tossing themselves from railroad tracks, drowning themselves, falling into mine chasms. Now, you have to follow them and watch them get killed by monsters? It does shed some light on the fate and backstory of characters you're introduced to earlier, like the calm innkeeper, if you finish the quest. But man, what a long haul this is! It doesn't improve much with others, like these life spring fountains, or fonts, as the game calls them. Before I get into this, yes, I'm aware that the cutscenes that show up in this quest are quite important. They reference Yuffie's DLC plights, and shed a whole bunch of light on Wedge and what he was up to in the hours before Cloud and company stormed the Shinra building. And it's nice that they actually confirm what happens to him with finality, unlike the bigger ending of the game, but that's something we can talk about soon, if you're interested. Anyway, to fix these font things, that awful Chadley character magically creates this robot out of virtual space, which somehow, for some reason, has to fight other robots, shooting fire, ice, and electricity at bad robots and big flan blobs that are part of a computer simulation, and that, somehow, has the ability to repair the Lifestream fountain.
What in God's name do Rock'em Sock'em robots have to do with the live stream? Where is the connection? How can you make a connection between those two things?
This makes no sense in any shape or form. And look at the amount of detail they stuffed into this random minigame.
A minigame that some players, maybe some of you out there even, didn't even know existed.
It goes all out. There's elemental properties, skills that you need to set for the spawning portal thingamajigs, and gambits. We're going that deep into strategy with this throwaway thing?
What is this? Final Fantasy XII? You know, the worst entry in the series, where you just assign gambits and then the game plays itself? I don't want that.
Your eyes just glaze over all of these commands and robot variations and actions because who cares? Just commit their asses! 4 rounds of it and you'll never do it again anyway. So why invest yourself into learning all the intricacies of these robotic AI systems? It's just a myriad of text boxes that... wait. What?
What the hell is this? Assessing marshmallows?
It's giving me strategies about marshmallows? Why? What does this even mean? Dear God! I see stuff about robot deployment, elemental weaknesses, gambit commands. Nothing about marshmallows. The flans aren't marshmallows. They're jelly blobs, if anything. Fine, let's do it. I'll bite.
Let's assess, yes. Let's assess these marshmallows. Jet Puffed brand, craft branded marshmallows. The original. Yes, I'm learning. There's 400 grams of fattening balloon-shaped marshmallow things here. This is actually pretty informative here. We got a recipe. Yeah, there's recipes on here. Choking warning, that's important, yeah. Choking hazard for children under 4. Under 4. How old am I? I'm 30-something. That means I can't choke.
Disclaimer. Anyone can choke on marshmallows, especially the full-sized ones. Do not attempt to scarf down fattening snacks in the manner presented here.
There, I assessed the marshmallows. Okay, I tried to assess them. This is much more fun than the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth version because, yeah.
There! How's that? Did I fulfill the requirement? No? Well, I'm sorry. Assessing marshmallows wasn't as fun as eating them. I still wager I provided more entertainment than this. Some padding seems to exist for no reason except to extend the time. There's some supremely lame puzzles that make Cloud push Mako vacuum cleaners around.
Mako gas levels reduced by 70%.
What was Square thinking here? They took a mundane, real-life chore that no one enjoys and put it in Rebirth. Several times, I might add.
And then, just like in real life, the vacuum cleaner's cord isn't long enough, so you have to piss around and open doors and push it 100 meters just to make it work. In the Shinra mansion, Aerith, Cait Sith, and Barret get captured, while Cloud and the rest are literally waiting forever for them. It's just a confusing cluster of cat rolling through ducts, combined with awfully implemented crate tossing, with controls that make you swear out loud, having to change the elevation and power of your throws. And what is this? Why would a Moogle throw unlimited boxes at switches? You waddle around at 2 miles an hour, searching for things to chuck crates into. Here, you're apparently supposed to destroy a huge iron pipe mechanism with a 3-foot square fragile box? Why? This is padding to the max. It doesn't end. You then have to throw multiple boxes onto an elevator to make the weight sufficient before riding it. And there's no plot revelations. It's just an escape quest. The dialogue afterwards confirms how absolutely useless this whole endeavor was.
Hey there.
So, find that terminal?
Let's just say we got a little sidetracked.
Well, we can but try again. No sense stewing on past mistakes. Right.
What's worse, they artificially and pointlessly extended scenes that old school gamers had memorized. What did you do when Sephiroth asked you to close the valve in the original? You walked a few steps to the left and closed the valve. It took 3 seconds. Here, you have to leave the entire room, find this huge-ass valve handle, and excruciatingly slowly turn this rusted contraption 3 times, and it rusts and gets slower by the second, until the whole system finally ceases to operate. The haptic feedback is cool and all, but I've timed it. It takes almost 1.5 minutes to complete. Honestly, did this valve closing sequence really need to be enhanced and elaborated this much? You wander around Junon's mountainsides and wake this lazy-ass guy up. A guy who looks like he lives in the same cave as the Mithril Man from the original Final Fantasy VII, who was also sleeping. What a weird reference. Too bad instead of the legendary Mithril, his big concern is driftwood.
Yeah, driftwood. That's fun, right? Oh man, such a mystical, otherworldly item that can only be found in Final Fantasy. Driftwood.
I thought I'd use some common sense first. Like, hey, look out on the horizon, there's a shipwreck out there with some wood drifting on the waters. But no, dumbass, duh, you have to go get a chocobo, then you sniff it out underneath a gravel pit. Not into that? Okay, let's make you ride a chocobo for hours collecting dozens of flying flowers, so the new chocobo sage can create whatever drugs he must be on.
I kid you not, it'll cure whatever ails you.
Great use of our time. Speaking of chocobo missions, You need to complete a minigame to tame each type, and while they start out very cute and fun, it becomes more tedious and annoying as they go on. You're crawling around slower than sludge, hiding behind carts and rolling around in minigames that fail to generate any excitement. This last one just about made me throw my controller. You have to climb up half a mountain and throw a bunch of bait to lure this blue chocobo across the field to a spot where you can sneak up on it. And you gotta get it pretty damn close too. Oh, come on, I threw the bait. Come on, you stupid bird. And as you're doing this, shrubs magically shrink and grow to block your progress, so you have to time it perfectly. Even if you get the chocobo moving along, if the shrubs grow back and slightly touch it, it retreats, and you have to keep attempting what you've already done. God damn! Get over there! No! Ah, damn it. Sometimes I'd get right near the end, but the bird just escapes. In many different fashions. What? Come back! What am I supposed to do? The only time I did it right, I broke the rules and went down to the base of the hill. This one made absolutely no sense. The loot excursions with the birds are even worse. Identical tedious exercises in watching magical blue beams appear and following them. Sometimes though, they are abysmal at letting you know where to go. Like here, it looks like it's sending me off a cliff. But when I get there, I don't even check the right spot. But oh, lucky, I found some mithril treasure anyway. Look at this! I can't just destroy a stone pillar. Where do I go? Chocobo's nose must be broken. Dungeons like the Mithril Mine have elevators broken, ladders broken, forcing you to always take the longest possible route to get to where you're going. Cloud and company have been shown to be capable of incredible jumping feats. But here? No, it's just too tough. Better off to slowly push a minecart half a mile down a track so we can clamber up there. The party often splits up, making you have to do double the work, going back and forth constantly, making us watch a one-armed man clamber up a rock face to find an exit, I'm presuming? Are we having fun yet? Is it any better now? They try justifying it as you create makeshift bridges with Barrett's knowledge of construction work, while Cloud and company stare blankly at the cave walls for an hour or so, but it's padding upon padding. Then there's these photo quests, which sometimes are inexplicably vague. Even the in-game tutorials admit how poor these maps are that you're supposed to follow, like Gongaga's weapon designer sending you off to find resources with these crummy photographs. It's an overgrown jungle! Everything looks the same. I don't know the difference between one lush tropical tree compared to the next. Every path looks similar too. I mean, you get these photos, but it's a total crapshoot of where you're supposed to look. When you finally find the place, you see how far away it is from the beginning. I mean, this is just a total shot in the dark. No one likes to keep stopping to look at these photos, but so many quests use this. You do it in Costa de Sol, looking for stupid cactuar art. They may be almost off the property, or a minuscule graffiti tagged on a fire hydrant, all while people make you think you should be finding it easily.
Come out, little cactuars!
I swear I saw one of those cactuars hidden around here just a minute ago.
There's more to be had at Cosmo Canyon, as you venture forth to find Lifespring sites too. These photo quests are never ending. One later quest has you sailing around a legendary map to find what's supposed to be an amazing accessory. You have to fight 4 of these tough pirate guardian monsters. And what do you get? A very blah attachment that mostly serves as another treasure hunting gadget to find more resources. Which was pointless from the start, because you can easily spot those bright purple glowing flotsam in the ocean from a mile away. You can do that beforehand too, you don't need the compass for that at all, which means it's a worthless accessory.
Fate's got one twisted sense of humor. And I'm always the punchline.
Last fall, before the game's release, I shared some hopes and worries that I had for Rebirth. And chief among the worries was how the game would handle Zack's role in what had now become a split timeline adventure.
This is Final Fantasy VII, not a spin-off, and I express concern that Zack would be given way too much of an active role within the grand scheme of things. Thankfully, his segments are spread out and he's used sparingly. That's the good news. The bad news? Your time spent with him is the most unappealing, boring, and yet somehow also confusing and baffling couple of hours that Rebirth has to offer. Case in point, Zack's well-renowned as a very capable soldier, right? So you'd think he'd be in many combat situations. So how many thrilling combat situations do you get into with Zack?
Come and get it!
2. You fight with him twice.
Twice in 100 hours.
He serves as the tutorial at the game's outset, fighting against the weakest enemies imaginable. That's disappointing because, come on, it's Zack!
Even among Final Fantasy VII fans, there are lots of them who don't really know much about Zack, or have even played through games like Crisis Core. They want to see what he can do!
But he just lays waste on these sword sponges until this bizarre cutscene appears with a reinforcement helicopter on its way, presumably to recapture Aerith. So, Zack's feeling that sense of urgency, right? He has to deal with this chopper, but he's got tons of field experience, so we can expect a professional, well-thought-out, realistic method of dispatching the threat while protecting Aerith. She's in a very precarious position here. And what's more, he loves her, wants to keep her safe. Zack was Aerith's first boyfriend, after all, has always had a bleeding heart.
That bleeding heart, it'll get you killed.
So, gaze in awe at Zack's subdued, sensible solution to this problem.
Heads up!
Was that really necessary? Good lord!
He just yanks this cement block out of the ground like he's the Hulk. And then he uses this somehow now godlike strength to tomahawk cement through the back rotor of a helicopter, sending it hurtling down and exploding. Look at how close this was to hitting Aerith. It could have killed her instantly by crushing her or exploding her. Could have killed Zack instantly. Everyone probably should be dead.
Does he not realize how close he came to crushing Aerith with a friggin' big helicopter? I guess Square just had to prove just how strong and badass Zack was. What just happened?
And guess when you fight as Zack the second time? Well, I'll tell you. It's against Sephiroth. Jesus, Murphy! Everything in the story is going insane. There's all this emotion and gravitas. Sephiroth! And then, oh, look. Here's the mandatory text box to teach us Zack's basic functions.
Have you ever played a game of any genre where there was a combat tutorial at the final boss?
Not only does this completely stall the emotion and excitement the climax has built up, it makes you feel woefully unprepared. Zack will get demolished here because you don't know what the hell is going on. Build up charges, use special abilities, shoot comets, and max level 3. Yeah, great info. Meanwhile, Sephiroth is impaling Cloud every 2 seconds. So all I'm worried about is staying alive and casting Arise spells. The game might have benefited from giving Zack at least one more combat chapter, don't you think? But no. Gotta make sure that Cloud doesn't get any more layers of dust on him sleeping comatose at Elmira's house. And you definitely have to check on Biggs, this guy that was transported from another timeline who Zack had no former attachment to whatsoever, who now is apparently important enough to create a conflict in him.
Shinra HQ, where Hojo should be, along with a cure for Cloud. To the left, Reactor 6, which will get blown up along with Biggs unless I stop him.
Really? Zack has a conscience crisis between saving this random guy that he just met a day ago and saving the love of his life and his comrade in arms? That should not be a tough decision.
Zack actually falters twice here.
Cloud. Biggs. Or Aerith. How the hell am I supposed to choose?
It's so dumb. This would be like if your significant other was stuck on the side of the road in a blizzard and their cell phone just ran out of juice right after they called you and you were ready to get up and go help them. But suddenly you notice a lost dog poster on the community bulletin board. And you go through analysis paralysis, wondering which situation should you put your energy into? Does that make any sense? And what's with this plan of his?
Need to talk to someone about Cloud.
And who is this someone? A doctor?
Well, he's
going to see Hojo? The guy who imprisoned him? Injected him and Cloud with Genova's cells?
That's his plan? To cure Cloud? Yeah, let's get Hojo!
Even if he means by taking him prisoner and forcing Hojo to cooperate, that's the head scientist of Shinra. He's protected by multiple levels of the most elite security Shinra has at their disposal. And time is of the essence. And I'm proven right almost immediately, as he spouts some Japanese RPG cliche nonsense and then bails out, running away from a basic Shinra security patrol.
See you never!
Zack's tasks. They definitely went all out with them, hey? I mean, you can stare at Cloud and stare at him more. You want more to do? Well, have you ever wanted to walk as Zack downstairs? Well, you, my lucky gamer, you are in luck. Zack gets to take his left foot, followed by his right foot, again and again, as he walks down the stairs to join Elmira and Marlene in conversation. You're controlling this. It's not automated. Hell, you can even go upstairs and sightsee. You experience it all!
But hey, maybe you're looking for more. All right, yeah, well, fair enough. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to give Cloud a sponge bath?
Here. Cloud's all yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we're gonna do this. Oh.
That's what Zack's prepped and ready to do. He's got the basin and the washcloth. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about, buddy. You gotta keep that comatose soldier looking spiffy. Priorities, man. It doesn't stop there. You get to ask people to see if they know who Biggs is. It's such an engaging quest. You put more miles on as Zack in this section than any of his other chapters. It's pretty much like an open world.
Start by robbing folks and stocking up on kill.
According to experts, for sure.
No, okay, not quite open world, I suppose, but I mean, you have to go and talk to several people, each of whom have different responses, even though they are all unhelpful. See how exhilarating it is to be Zack?
I'm sorry, but I don't know who that is.
You seen anyone who looks like this?
Can't say I have.
The sarcasm is getting old, I know. But seriously, it's ridiculous just how all over the place Zack's events are.
Even his character model seems woefully inconsistent. Look at the difference in arm buffness in the main menu compared to the in-game model. He looks friggin' skinny in the status screen, and then he has these big pipes here. Compare them side by side, and it's not even close. Which guy would you rather go against in a fight? It's cool that he has some different animations, I'll admit, like his squats that echo what Cloud does, but man, he doesn't even have any equipment or materia options, so you know each time that you're Zack that he's just going to be an errand boy or listening to plot details. Plot details that most gamers wish probably weren't even in this game. It's not just Zack that is poorly utilized. Vincent and Sid aren't given nearly as much respect or influence as they should have been, given both of their roles in the greater story, as well as the fan love for each. Sid basically exists as a glorified fast travel, flying you to each region of the map, with only a couple short bantering sequences between him and the party. Sure, there's this whole reveal that he knew Aerith's mother back when he was just getting started, but that's about it. They don't even mention the rocket ship plot in here, or his hometown. I'm assuming that's being saved for the last entry when the huge materia hunt gets going. Similar to how Yuffie's Wutai homeland will likely become a huge, expanded world, given all the war political turmoil that's constantly interfering with the plot we want to experience throughout the whole game.
Who exactly is this Saruf? The Invisible Man?
Vincent, oh, he's even worse. He doesn't do anything. The fundamentals are there. The character model, voice actor, and demeanor all seem on point. But that makes it even more irritating to see him just stand there most times. He has this one line at the Gold Saucer, which implies his prior Turk connections allow him to track their helicopter signal to find the Temple of the Ancients.
He told the Turks whose chopper I should be able to track.
Really?
I know which radio frequencies they use. The moment they get on comms, I'll find them.
So he's simply a plot deus ex machina. This is soon followed by him again, standing at the entrance.
I got nothing. Expectations often lead to disappointment.
Apt words. That's Vincent in a nutshell, isn't it? Finally, when everything is going insane and the temple starts crumbling to pieces, he just teleports to the party, saying,
"Come. I have secured us an exit."
For real? That's what we brought Vincent along for?
He just stood there for most of the time and didn't join the party through most of it, spent the majority of it creeping on the Turks, but now he knows the lay of the land enough to secure an escape route? And actually, scratch that, whoop-de-doo, he just runs out the same way that we came. Yeah, I definitely couldn't have figured that out on my own. Thank God for Vincent. In Remake, Red wasn't playable either, but he at least comes into play with some puzzle solving, and he does become a guest party member who assists you and does damage to enemies. They could have at least went that far with Vincent. You see him in action almost right away. He transforms into his Galleon Beast limit form, for frick's sake. But nope, hope you enjoyed that, because oh, that was just too exhausting and it's too much effort to do again. I guess. Cid's role is cemented as transportation, as we said, so I guess it makes sense to save him for the last game, but it's still irritating. It's crazy how much they're putting off for the final Final Fantasy VII entry. The other Avalanche members, whose fates were left so ambiguous but so optimistic at the end of Remake, all seem unable to escape the finality that their original destiny manifested in the OG game. Jessie actually never survived at all, in any shape or form, hence her emotional virtual reality ballet number in the event square at the Gold Saucer.
I've never seen her look more beautiful.
Yeah. She's a real star.
Wedge's cut to black moment in Remake?
Sorry, Cloud.
That was a teaser that leads to absolutely nowhere. He actually did just fall out of the glass and die unceremoniously in a heap outside of the building. Did this anger anyone else? Seems like a pretty anticlimactic way to end his life.
Just tell me that I made a difference.
All he did was extend it for, what, a day? And Biggs, well, in the alternate timeline, which you're forced to spend most of Zack's time in, and where he tries so hard to figure out that he's been displaced.
So how come I was the one who got saved? Because someone needs you. You and your can-do attitude.
He just gets shot. By a random trooper. The end. Game over.
No. No. Here I thought I might have been saved for a reason. Some higher purpose.
Nope. Sorry, Biggs. Square Enix figured it'd be best not to only wreck what happened in the original game, but then circle back and kill you again anyway. Wow. Why give anyone such a shocking new chance of life, only to do this? In fairness, I suppose that makes events like this livestream moment extra emotional, and perhaps there's an added layer of sadness blanketed onto the plot at large through these reveals. Even though defeating Whispers created so many alternate worlds, it sure feels like each character has a fate that becomes impossible to outrun. For all the emphasis Square put on this being an unknown journey, the plot progression of each character arc, as well as the end results for most of the returning characters, sure don't supply any satisfying resolution. Despite some alternate paths, the periphery characters end up dying anyway, and mostly in the same fashion. Cid and Vincent just seem shoehorned in, because Square knew fans would get mad if they weren't included somehow. And Zack himself? Well, he's the only one who does get some ambiguity thrown into his arc. But he wasn't supposed to have survived in the first place! For fans who are adamant that the original Final Fantasy VII plotline should be the only one, it doesn't matter if Zack's boring meandering and multiversing eventually does turn into something more substantial, because it's completely interfering with how many fans know the story should have played out.
All shall be revealed, O puppet of fate. So dance while you still have time.
Gamers, we have to talk. And we have to talk about the ending of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I'm convinced the next game should be titled Final Fantasy VII Multiverse, though it won't. We all know it's going to be Final Fantasy VII Reunion.
Reunion of worlds.
Reunion.
The reunion.
Because that requires the least effort and creativity. Ugh. Final Fantasy VII is probably the last game that should ever have been plagued with this time travel / alternate reality BS.
One of the best things about the original's mid-game climax is its finality. It's a self-sufficient, enclosed story about one group of characters who exist in one world. and as such, Aerith's death has such a meaningful and never-ending impact. In fact, in my original Final Fantasy VII retrospective, I have a quote here that sums it up just simply.
This is a rare finality moment in video games that doesn't pull any punches when it comes to the impact or the fallout. There's no miracle revival like you see in so many comics and other video games. Never happens. The closest thing we get to ambiguity is Aerith's last second appearance during the ending, but as the 2005 movie Advent Children confirmed, she is no longer present in physical form on the planet. It's a simple, linear storyboard of events. But here we are in Rebirth territory.
Oh, not these damn things again!
Actually, to be fair, I have to give the developers credit. For the most part, the Whispers are absent from the plot.
They have a few big scenes though, like when Tifa gets dunked in the livestream. It almost looks like there's planet-formed white Whisper ghosts, and they're fighting alongside the weapons against a Sephiroth army of black Whisper ghosts. This just looks silly, like it's some kind of misguided fanfiction piece of filth that somehow made it into the game. And if the white ghosts are on the planet's side, weapons came to life to defend the planet, as we all know, why do you have to force your way through the white Whisper ghosts at the Forgotten Capital? That doesn't make sense to me. If they are all about the survival of the planet, why would they be trying to make sure Cloud and crew don't make it to Aerith? In fact, it's the Team Sephiroth Black Whispers that initiate the opening for Cloud to make it through. If Cloud's party fails to stop Sephiroth, she can't pray and activate Holy, which saves the planet from Meteor. By the end, every Whisper just seems to be a villain. And why are any Whispers still around? The whole point of Remake, so I thought, was to destroy that boss Whisper, the Arbiter of Fate, so that those ghosts would cease to exist, and then the future could unfold differently. Did that entire game mean nothing then? Just why? Then there's Sephiroth using a Whisper cannon as one of his battle abilities.
No way! That's just... Oh. Even the ridiculous, far-fetched logic that they established in Remake doesn't repeat in Rebirth. Square Enix just seems to be going around doing whatever it wants. It doesn't care.
And as if my eyes weren't already completely glazed over, this shows up when Sephiroth begins his half an hour of explanation. All it does is remind me that all that meta bullcrap from Remake is making a ferocious comeback towards the ending, and that Sephiroth is truly about dominating all the realities. Well, that's what I think he's after. He's trying to merge all of the different worlds into one. Hence Sephiroth mentioning his homecoming and reunion nonsense ad nauseum.
This is but a homecoming, for it is not death, but a homecoming that awaits them.
And it lines up with his explanation to Cloud about
all life is as one. The planet encompasses a multitude of worlds.
I mean, he's being very thorough. He's literally chasing a flower girl through all these different timelines. Persistent bastard really wants to make sure all of them florists die. What a heartless prick. This is why an alternate Aerith gives Cloud her charged up holy materia as she summons him to her dissociated world. Because, as we remember, the prime Aerith from Cloud's world had her materia drained of its power by the Whisper Ghosts. That's part of what she was saying when she mentioned losing parts of herself in her former childhood room in Remake.
Every time the Whispers touch me, I lose something, a part of myself.
So Cloud is tasked with bringing this alternate Aerith's materia to his reality, to his Aerith, or else Aerith's prayers don't have a chance of activating.
That's what I've attempted to piece together, anyway. But who knows? Your explanation probably makes more sense than mine, and so could other people's. But everything is just so convoluted and muddy and poorly explained. And it's even worse than Remake in this regard.
Especially with Zack. So yeah, he's confused and conflicted about who to save. Biggs, Cloud, or Aerith, which shouldn't be a tough decision. As I pointed out in this video, if you want to see how Square Enix wasted some of its most beloved characters in Rebirth, check it out. I know, Zack is supposed to be the most righteous and perfectly awesome good guy in the world. But he knew Biggs for what? 5 hours? A day maybe? Still, he wants to save everyone. So get this, Square shows you all 3 realities to further complicate the Sephiroth monologue about multiple worlds. In one reality, Zack tries to save Biggs, whose bomb didn't even detonate.
I'm useless. Can't even make a damn bomb.
But he just gets plugged by a sniper, so that entire meta-plot arc for him was for absolutely nothing. Okay, game over, I guess. Another one shows the reality where he goes topside in search of Hojo to find a cure for Cloud. But again, he just gets ambushed by the Shinra soldiers. What a shocker! Then, there's a reality where he stays by the church to protect Aerith, but Sephiroth arrives, as we talked about, and sends him to this purgatory dimension, I guess, where he eventually comes into contact with Cloud after wandering aimlessly for a while, magically finding the yellow flowers that Aerith alluded to being vital in Remake.
Follow them, the yellow flowers.
Hooray! Don't get me wrong. Is it awesome that Zack and Cloud briefly get to reunite as the realities merge? Damn rights that's awesome! You've got witty banter between them.
Alright, follow my lead. Look at you taking charge! I like
a chance to finally use Zack's true techniques and power instead of randomly flinging a cement block into a helicopter. Heads up! What the hell was that about? And, of course, a stylish synergy move that helps bond them together. Speaking of, even after Zack is banished to his timeline, where he's still alive, he's still able to summon Cloud's spirit to aid him, as he does his part against this multiverse-encompassing Sephiroth, who is obviously trying to compensate for something, given how laughably huge and comical this design is. Holy crap! It's like he became a Mighty Morphin Power Soldier and got Rita Repulsa to make him grow! Try something a little bit more subtle next time, maybe? Oh, while I'm on this subject, like other parts of Rebirth, the endgame fights just go on and on and on! There's the Genova fight, and then the second part of the Genova fight, which randomizes the party into all these duos, followed by a 2-on-1 Zack and Cloud versus Sephiroth clash, which leads to Cloud versus that gigantic monstrosity Sephiroth, which then Zack has to fight, and then the party has to fight. All in 3 different realities, remember? And finally, a final Final Fantasy VII fight, pitting Cloud and Aerith against the one-winged angel. Jesus Murphy, I'd say 7 fights is pretty damn long. At least the number matches up with the game, I guess. Rebirth is not kidding when it warns you about this at the altar. You definitely want to make sure your entire party has their folios maxed out and that they're outfitted with enough decent materia that they can at least heal and do some varied commands, or this can be woefully difficult.
This one's for Aerith.
But most importantly, we have to talk about this.
No! The initial gut punch this moment delivers is effective. For about 4 seconds, you are rejoicing in the fact that Aerith survived. But yet, somehow, the reality then merges into one where she dies anyway? Part of the problem is that Cloud is such an unreliable narrator.
Now, flawed protagonists are a good thing. We don't want a bunch of Mary Sue protagonists waltzing in and just dodging danger and deception at every turn, mastering abilities everywhere with no training.
But Cloud is just an ultimate fail in this game. We're counting on him to give us context and truth, but his mental state means nothing is ever clear, even more so than the original. He has so many hallucinations. It's amazing he didn't accidentally cut Aerith or Tifa down during one of his moments.
I'm not like him. I'll never be like him.
Actually, he almost did slash Tifa in half here, and that was only about halfway through the game. With that puppet persona he's struggling with, who knows if this is an alternate reality that even happened? Maybe that's just what his mind was telling him to see, just as us old gamers know that this is not Cloud. Actually, this was Cloud in the prologue. He's the lowly infantryman who can't even handle a bumpy truck ride.
Wish I could help, but never been motion sick. Sorry, man.
The weak grunt, who nevertheless heroically pushes Tifa out of the way of an incoming attack, takes a hit, and gets praised by Sephiroth.
Well done, Trooper.
Thank you.
The meek but protective Trooper, who doesn't let Tifa follow.
Oh! You better keep me safe.
When that colossally sized dragon ambushes Sephiroth's party in the cave, which is actually Sephiroth and Zack, Cloud flees to ensure Tifa's safety. And if you pay attention, you can even make out his voice as they escape.
This way!
Sorry, man.
This way!
Sorry, man.
This way!
Feeling any better? I'm good.
Those touches are amazing and deserve kudos. But getting back on track, it's clear that everyone else is mourning Aerith. Just observe how despondent Tifa is in all of the ending scenes. Red's the only one who even slightly senses her spirit form.
Aerith?
While Cloud, he's convinced that he saved her, just as this moment seems to show. Aerith just tells him casually that she'll keep praying to stop Meteor. So Cloud's literally thinking that she's just going to walk back to the capital and keep summoning Holy. She only came out there to see him off, after all.
I'll see you off.
He's in complete denial, right? Or is he now sandwiched in between two timelines and realities? Like he's seeing that sky rift, which is what Zack's world sees as the omen of death, and doesn't hesitate to bring it up to Barrett, who naturally doesn't see anything.
Well, now I gotta look.
Fine, but don't let it get to you.
Don't let what get to me?
Here, Cloud just asks Aerith to wake up.
Wake up.
And she does. And he pretty much carries on, as if the entire band is back together and everything's hunky-dory.
Tifa. Come on.
Oh, and don't forget, he fuses the black materia into the Buster Sword. That won't possibly cause any complications, right?
The ending is still emotional, don't get me wrong. And it's not just that moment either.
You find beauty in those beautiful homages, like Aerith inexplicably vanishing and popping out among various trees, with Cloud unable to keep up as she goes to face Sephiroth. It's an altered but touchingly faithful callback. Whispers ruin it a bit, as they ruin everything, but still.
Oh? Next time?
Yeah, next time.
Hearing Cloud and Aerith confess their feelings straight out is refreshing and breaks the JRPG trope of angst-ridden couples never acting on their true emotions. Immediately following Sephiroth's unspeakable act, Jenova confronts the party, and you'll notice that all of Aerith's comrades who saw her death for what it was originally have their limit break meters instantly filled because of the hate and sorrow that has engulfed them, while Cloud's, his is empty, because his perception is that Aerith is just resting. He's ready to fight, but calm and composed. And as ridiculous as all this alternate reality stuff is, it's cool to play as Zack, and inspiring to hear he and Cloud recite the soldier code together, and still being able to join forces, even when they're literally realities apart.
And whatever happens, protect your honor as a soldier!
When Aerith's spirit, or the alternate Aerith, or whoever this is, joins Cloud for the final boss, I'm wagering some of you were like me, barely able to see the TV screen through all the tears that were flooding through your eyes. Unless maybe you thought it would play out in lockstep with the original, and you disarmed all of Aerith's materia and equipment, leaving her helpless in the final battle, then you'd have been emotional, but in a different way. But her appearance just hits us so hard in the feels. Even Sephiroth, in the only admission he ever makes in the entire script, remarks,
I must admit, I underestimated you.
The battle itself has awesome moments, like Cloud and Aerith's synergy abilities being capable of weakening Sephiroth in a very rare instance of putting him on his heels.
You ready?
As I'll ever be!
I can't deny any of those positives, but that doesn't make the cryptic crap.
So this is where you've been hiding.
The absolutely non-resolution of the 7 seconds line, which is as mystifying as ever.
7 seconds till the end. Time enough for you. Perhaps.
Or the messy, anything goes multiverse stance any more acceptable.
Because, honestly, what's to stop any of the other Aeriths from all these other converging worlds to just suddenly appear and become part of the plot again, as she seems to be doing in the ending? I mean, there you go. Oh, Aerith is alive, even though, we still made you sad that she died, but there she is.
The comparatively tiny, self-contained world and our beloved one and only cast of characters from Final Fantasy VII is now just a marvelous conglomeration of alternative realities and timelines and reality Skyrift cracks and Aeriths. Oh, so many Aeriths.
Up and at him, soldier.
Hell, maybe the original blocky Aerith will make an appearance in the final game, just like how the gang was transformed in the Fort Condor excursion. My point is that Aerith just exists forevermore somewhere, so in the back of our minds, the emotion doesn't feel nearly as genuine, because there's still a way out for everything to just work.
Not you. That was to her, my future self. Can't say when you'll meet, but trust me, you'll love her. Just you wait.
Let's look at a real-life example that's a bit less tear-jerking. You lose your wallet, which I probably do once a month. It's got all your important stuff in it: credit card, social insurance number, your driver's license, all that jazz. Well, if you've got alternate realities, you can just relax, knowing that another version of you has that wallet with them, and instead of $5, maybe they have a couple hundred in there and are well off. Another you out there might be filthy rich and have a mansion. So who cares? That version of you is just as relevant as you are. So in some other reality, you are just crushing this game of life. You might even be a friggin' war hero. That version is out there somewhere, and so is Aerith. She's still out there.
We meet again.
Sephiroth wants to dominate every reality, so yeah, he definitely still has to be stopped. He's going around stalking her and killing her in world after world. At least there's still a prime motivation for you to chase down Sephiroth in the endgame. Is this what we're supposed to be concerned with?
These errant worlds, all shall be one again, all made whole, forever.
If Sephiroth successfully merges all realities, thus absorbing all of the lifestream energy from all of them, he becomes like the god of the multiverse. It all becomes one, and he's killed Aerith, so there wouldn't be any more Aeriths to stop him if everything's merged together. right? But then, the game just spits at this notion. She manifests herself even after Sephiroth seemingly merged realities to make her death uniform across time and space. With Cloud firmly entrenched in his belief that Aerith is still around, you can bet she'll still be showing up, much like how she did in the final battle. We'll still have her fighting for us and appearing, even if it's all in Cloud's delusional thinking. For us as players, she'll still be there inputting commands. I can almost guarantee it. Which is a stark contrast to the emptiness that we felt when she left the original game permanently. As stated before, even her materia and equipment were lost forever. It was a deep, massive loss that, after the party worked through their grief, continued to inspire. Now, we're going to have Cloud believing Aerith right there, contrasting with the rest of the party, who are going to be in both deep heartache and confusion, because Cloud will be like, hey, did you see Aerith completely wipe the floor with those enemies? And Tifa and crew will think he's simply drifting further into delusion. I think Square is deluded beyond repair at this point. Look at this final message before the credits. No promises await. If we were to translate this, it's like, we'll do whatever we want, so just shut up and stop whining.
Rebirth stays out of the meta trappings of Remake for a majority of its story. And believe me, that is a godsend.
Because whenever Zack shows up, you know you're going to be ushered off onto another 15-minute exposition dump of cryptic things with tiny cliffhangers each time that still fail to resolve anything. That's Rebirth's biggest failure. Zack's almost useless for 100 hours carrying around wash basins, then suddenly he becomes a huge player in the whole split timeline mess that Sephiroth absolutely delights in kind of explaining and kind of not, both to the player and to Cloud. The fact that Aerith exists in so many different worlds and timelines, it dilutes the emotion. I cannot stress that enough. It's difficult to be attached to someone when there's another one of them a simple dimensional rift away, which Rebirth seems to jump between with ease, especially at the end.
However, I encourage you, don't make those things the main takeaways after you finish the game.
This isn't the Final Fantasy VII you know, or maybe still want, but I'll be damned if it isn't a game that does everything in its power to deliver thrilling combat, your favorite characters explored in a much fuller capacity, and faithful, nostalgic callbacks ushered into a new age that millennials in particular will want to embrace. Reflect on just how much effort was put into making Final Fantasy VII's world come to life. Remember how freeing it felt when you saw Aerith open her arms wide to take in the wonders of an open grassland plain that you could explore at your leisure. Embrace the tons of homages, like Cloud's victory pose being used in the military parade's conclusion, and Yuffie's motion sickness. Rejoice that you actually got to play as Sephiroth in a prologue that does the original's flashback justice and then some. Give credit to how well implemented the buggy and chocobo systems are. And don't ever forget the emotion you felt. The emotion when Dyne gets a much more noble send-off than just ending it all quietly. The shock and awe of when Tifa and Cloud finally kiss after over a decade of emotional turmoil, scars, and doubt. And picking your job off the floor when Aerith became a starlit showstopper, flooding the in-game characters and all of us with tears and awe. Just try to pretend Queen's blood never once existed in any reality of the infinite numbers Sephiroth claims, and things will be wonderful. It's a deep, dark shame that Queen's blood was popular enough to be returning in the final game, but that's one less thing for me to review later, because I refuse to acknowledge it any more than I have here. And yes, I know I'm in the minority with that.
Rebirth, to me, is a much more complete, much more faithful game than Remake ever was. I just wish all that meta crap would disappear, because the other 99% of it is incredibly faithful. A lot of the adapted or expanded sections actually enhance the original game, and the developers definitely know how to appease to the fan base. particularly with how much marvelous character work is instilled within this 100+ gigabyte monster of a video game.
Parting is indeed such sweet sorrow.
Those are just my humble opinions, gamers. But I'm interested in hearing your thoughts to one of the most anticipated releases in video game history. What hits did I miss? And what misses should I have hit? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in to Gaming Introspection, and I'll see you next time with new content and new games. Take care of yourselves, gamers. It is always good to see ya.